At least for today.
Since we don't have a specific agenda, because that's a special.
Pledge allegiance to the flag, United States of America, to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Rosemary, if you could read.
Handy,
Here.
Nelson, Truax,
See. Oh, this will be a little bit more relaxed meeting, and if public has comments, as long as we have more master plan to go through than I think we'll get through in one sit down. My suggestion is we start with chapter 6. Any notes on it?
I've got an electronic. Sarah sent it, emailed it to us direct, right? It's the draft version. Yeah. So, chapter 6.
Well, thank you.
do you have the recorder going, Jen?
No, I don't. No indication that it's actually recorded. And we're back with copies. For those playing at home, chapter 6 is community engagement. In this chapter, an overview, public survey, public workshops, summary, and analysis. Most of my comments, I guess we can start on 40.
At the bottom or?
Yes.
Okay, 48 on the bottom.
Actual master plan 48.
Which is? Overview of public process. Okay, so that is different than
the electronic version, so let me get there.
Yeah, I think that's good.
So chapter 6, PDF.
That's it.
Okay,
All right,
I'm with you now.
okay. On 48, most of my changes are formatting. And I actually, currently this is the first that anyone responded to Sarah a couple weeks ago. I sent this back. Percentages and the way she presents them varies from paragraph to paragraph. And I just said the style is with it. Some nigs on word choices, but some clarity things, but other than that, I don't have anything.
It was a pretty good response. We got a good response, yeah. Yeah. I mean, that's up to Sarah. She's the one that's supposed to tell us how this all reads. I mean, that's her specialty. You know,
Well, it's not entirely up to Sarah.
I mean, because I understand, the questions where you might have problems with the questions, but that's up to her. She does them all the time.
Mhm.
She should give us an outlook of what
Well,
people want.
I think that's the whole point of this chapter is that feedback.
Yeah,
It's
that
also,
was good. And we did get a good feedback.
oh, we got a good fit. We got an okay response. I would have liked to have seen it a little bit higher, but apparently compared to not only the surveys Sarah's done, but other firms, a surprisingly good response.
Yeah, I feel like that's what she said. There was like over 118 or 48 respondents.
Around 150.
She was hoping for at least 100. Yeah.
It's not quite 10% of what went out.
Nothing. We could have got 0%. So we do have
But it's also worth, I mean,
people that want us.
sent out the actual written responses as well, not just the numbers that she's compiled here. It's worth reading the comments because
Yeah, I like to do that.
I think they're very informative of some about the way people feel. And they were some that were kind and some that were very blunt. I see a nodding head.
Yeah, that's exactly what you want.
The only thing that I have marked as unclear is second column, fourth paragraph from the bottom of the respondents that were non-residents. 16% of those owned a vacation home in Inland Township, while 27% were occasional visitors. I'd say I'd change non to not full-time residents. Some of the people, including one of the trustees and member of this commission, is not full-time resident, but I wouldn't call you a non-resident. You're certainly a property owner.
So, in my experience, the legal definition of residence is where your primary residence, where you are registered to vote at.
Yeah.
So, anything else is not your residence. It's a second home. It's
They pay more.
it's semantics on
They
it.
pay more taxes
They do.
than
Yeah.
us living here.
Mhm.
So,
Yep.
And without a vote.
Well,
Without
yeah,
a vote.
exactly. Yeah. So yeah. I mean, that was back in the day, when people had. I don't know if we're seeing as much now, but they had vacation homes up here. Yeah.
Yeah. It's good that we got some of their opinions in this. though.
Indeed.
You know,
Yep.
That's good. And visitors as well.
Yeah, it seems like the net was cast out widely.
Mm-hmm.
On page 48.
So. I'm curious on the next page with the word clouds.
Mhm.
Have we done any analysis related to our tax rates versus, other townships around the area? 'Cause I know Benzie County is lower than Grand Traverse County.
Considerably.
Yes, but I don't know if Inland Township is lower than Elmira, lower than.
It's,
That's fair because taxes is always top of mind
Right.
with anyone.
Nobody wants
No
to
one
pay
wants to pay more
taxes.
taxes.
Right, yeah.
What's your number one beef with government? Taxes.
Right, right.
Yeah, true.
well, that
Yeah,
came,
good
came
question.
through in the survey. I have done some on my own, and Inland has the highest millage rates, of any other municipality in the county. Many argue that we are overtaxed.
Well, yeah, but, yeah, move somewhere else and then you
Right,
are
right.
overtaxed.
Well,
Yeah,
compared to the
it ain't
big,
gonna
compared to the big
change.
cities, we're not.
Taxes aren't gonna
but,
change.
Um, which actually gets into later chapters, and certainly the capital improvement plan. We are carrying as a township, we're carrying a surplus that is multiples of what our consultants suggest it should be
Right.
by a factor of 5, 6, 8.
Okay.
So it's something to keep in mind.
When you say consultants, tell me which ones.
Manor Casterison,
Okay.
I mean, it's a good thing, but yeah, I agree, yeah, it probably shouldn't be.
So any others? You said plural consultants.
well, we've got Rod and, I'm gonna choke on her name. Two consultants from Manor
Bethany.
Casterison. Bethany, thank you.
Because our auditor said, while we're in the high range, I don't think the auditor said that we were out of bounds or anything like that.
I would not take the auditor's word over Manor Casterison's.
Yeah. And are you referencing the draft report they sent back in March?
No, I'm referencing multiple conversations that I've had with them over the last year and a half.
So these are conversations you had?
Well, in meetings, there's actually a meeting going back to June or July of 2024 that's online YouTube that was a 4-hour master course that Rod came up and gave the board at the time that's actually capable of being fully reviewed. And that's where he introduced the concept of finance committee amongst other things.
Okay. Yeah, Bill, I think it's fair that maybe we should do a comparison with surrounding, because that way it gives us a benchmark.
Yeah, if nothing else, I mean, the word cloud here, taxes, high taxes, that's the biggest thing that's popping out to
Well,
me.
we got a tax break when you didn't agree to the road commission
Yeah.
building. I thought that would go through for sure.
Yeah, so did I.
So they,
Um,
are you volunteering to do some comparisons?
Yeah, I can figure out how to look that up.
That would be great.
So, because if we're, if this is a perception situation
Mhm.
where, Inland Township is perceived, everywhere is perceived as having high taxes.
Mhm.
Anything more than 0 is perceived as high taxes typically. So to me, it's more about comparison,
Right, yeah.
to
How do we-
determine,
that-
are
that
we
would be
higher
interesting,
than
yeah.
our neighbors?
Interesting
Or
to
are
know,
we the
yeah.
low spot and everybody just, it's higher than 0, so it's considered high taxes?
Well,
I don't know.
I think that's a good point. We certainly are lower taxes than Cincinnati, which is where I
Right.
came from.
Right.
And to a certain extent, I still feel good. Comparing against other municipalities is somewhat apples to apples. If you have similar townships, comparing us against Frankfurt, you know, might be more apples and oranges or apples and skunks, you know, not necessarily a straight comparison. I think to be more meaningful, we also need to look at what our current millages are and what our current fund balances are as a township. As an example, the fund balance for, and I don't have these figures accurate, they're off the top of my head. We have 4 millages. We have the general fund for general operation stuff. We have a road millage, which I've heard the argument that we don't really need because we pay an equal road millage to the county and they're supposed to be taking care of our roads. We have 2 fire millages, one for operations and one for equipment. And just as an example, the fire operation millage, based on easily the last 5 years of actual operation figures, we have a surplus that is more than 2 years operating actual expenses. So the question becomes, why do we have a millage so high, and why do we have a surplus that's, again, our consultants suggest that we should carry about a 20% surplus. You know, based on that, we've got a operations are a little over 200,000. We've got a $400,000 surplus. You know, we could run for 2 years without taking in anything, which is certainly not the suggestion.
You know, that
but
road millage, is that required? Was that required?
The township road millage or the county road
No,
millage?
the township.
No,
That's like a
it's
double
not.
dip. You know, and I know when they did that a long time ago, and
Yeah.
it was kind of like, why? Oh, you know, give some more money to the road commission, and that would be interesting.
Well,
Find out, because they didn't do any better, you know.
no.
What it did is like, it paved, like Fewens Road, got paved like 5 times. That's all they did, is they just kept paving Fewens Road over and over and over. Yeah.
That's why it's so
Spend the
high.
money, spend the money.
Well, and
So, yeah, that'd be interesting.
one of my concerns as a former trustee, but more as a resident, we have these surpluses. We don't have any specific written plans other than the general fund, which is for operations. Where's the plan? You know, which roads are, you know, we've got 200 and some odd $1,000 in the road fund. Where's that going?
Right,
That's,
right,
well,
right.
it's for.
Does that
for roads.
planning process fall under our purview
Yeah,
as a planning commission?
I'd be curious how that got.
For the,
that got
for the capital,
in.
it's unclear. For the capital improvement plan, yes, that does fall. It's specifically our responsibility.
Mm-hmm.
What's interesting is because we don't have either a water system or a sewer system, it's not a specific requirement for a township or municipality that doesn't have those to do a capital improvement plan. But we've been charged with doing a capital improvement plan by the board. The budget itself is the responsibility of the board and falling on primarily the shoulders of the supervisor to put one together.
Mm-hmm. So that amount that we're taking in, that amount of the fund that it's at right now, those sorts of things, those dollars are not within our control,
Well,
but we're setting a plan for the future.
correct.
That's our charge right now.
Technically, nothing is in our control. The board is the
Right.
final word on everything.
Right.
But from the standpoint of a capital improvement plan, that's something that planning commissions were set up to be quasi-independent of the board, which is why we make the plan.
Mhm.
And then they get to approve or disapprove it. But putting together a capital improvement plan is our responsibility, one of our responsibilities. And, you know, we need to focus on whatever it is we define as a capital improvement. You know, so what's a what's a big ticket item? Is it anything over, X thousands of dollars, or, is it, 10,000, 50,000, 100,000?
So other worse things, just word cloudness that I'm seeing here, we've got blight, we've got property, but I don't know what that's attached to. Blight is a little bit darker than property, so I'm not quite sure what property is attached to. I'm seeing noise and traffic and junkie and gun noise,
Taxes.
housing people,
Nothing we can do about taxes. So.
that sort of stuff. Dirt. Dirt is a worst thing. Um,
Well-
fast traffic. So maybe traffic speeds are something that people are.
Yeah, how we do, yeah, we can't control that.
Yeah, I'm not sure.
Oh, traffic's terrible. You cannot turn left on this 31. I mean, you cannot do it. So, I get it, man.
Don't say roundabout.
Right. Yeah, we
well-
don't need that. Well, with next year they do the road. That'll help if they do the.
Well, I do like word clouds from the standpoint of kind of focusing on what's more or less important. The notes that I have, and I believe they will be, the survey will be included in the final master plan in the back, so you can see the actual questions that were asked, along with the numbers and written answers.
Mm-hmm.
I think that would go a long way, at least for some of the things like, taxes being such a big thing, high taxes. It would be helpful to have this broken out a little bit for, the top 3, top 5 items. Does that make sense?
Maybe. I don't know if Sarah grouped them together or
Well,
if she's done any analysis like that.
she has, and it's for us to tell Sarah how we would like to see it,
Right.
so, and it would also be helpful, in your tax comparison, we're supposed to have census numbers, and we do have census numbers, how do some of these, stats compare to, the census?
Okay. And then onto and the next page after the word clouds, she's got a nice the second paragraph there is a
We're
good
on
summary.
Page 50?
It's 58 on mine.
No, I'm going by the actual,
58.
by the actual.
Yeah.
Well,
The
I mean,
the
we're following
electronic
along,
version
yeah.
is a different version
Than what you have.
you
Well,
have.
you're using PDF pages, I'm using.
No, I'm using written on the bottom of the page numbers. If this is 58, and you've got 50.
Huh.
So
Yeah,
we
this is
have
the last one
different
she sent out.
versions. We
That's
have different
interesting.
versions. The electronic version
That's interesting.
has more in it. So,
Okay, so to your point,
so but I'm seeing a paragraph here that says when asked about priority issues, maintaining rural character and fiscal responsibility tied for the highest overall. Middle of the road priorities are senior aging population, housing quality, look and feel of commercial properties, fire protection, emergency services, maintaining existing residents and attracting new residents was the lowest priority.
Right. I agree.
Period there. Attracting new residents was the lowest
Yeah, I
priority.
agree.
Listen up, you're good.
Interesting. Transportation. 70%
Bus,
walk,
man.
run, or ride bikes.
Benzie bus is awesome.
Yeah.
Yeah, we got great transportation, public transportation.
So transportation.
one of the questions I had is, you know, a couple places she throws out, you know, survey responses. Um, From my review of the raw data, you know, a couple people suggested that they'd like to see, you know, garbage recycling or garbage and recycling pickup
Mm-hmm.
through our tax dollars.
That's a good option. I mean, could
Well,
we,
let me finish. It's a good idea, but it wasn't a strong response.
No.
And my question is, what kind of survey, and Sarah's response to me in a conversation was, what kind of, she threw those in as examples. Not that we have, you know, what kind of survey responses do we want? And it kind of struck me that if we're gonna be putting this out as a master plan, you know, it's not that one person can't have a great idea that we should all pay attention to, but if we're responding to the direction of a survey, having a response of, you know, one person or a couple of people, you know, you know, it's not that we need to clarify it now, but, you know, think about what responses we want to have in there. You know,
Wait, are you suggesting removing that person or few people's opinion in order to not include it in the master plan? Is that?
no. This is the master plan will in the appendix have all the responses and so forth.
Uh-huh.
This version, Sarah was just throwing this in as an example of highlighting a survey response. And it struck me that with only a handful of people suggesting garbage collection at taxpayers,
yeah, that's actually a good idea.
tax dollars.
Why not subsidize if the township's got all
You're,
this money?
you're missing my point. It's not that it's a bad idea. It's
Right,
just
you're
not,
just saying, well, there's only a couple people, but that was,
it's not
Good.
it's not a taxes are quiet.
yeah.
I mean,
But yeah, that'd be a great way to spend some of our,
that's not the point of my
Surplus.
question. It's,
No, I know.
it's a good idea,
And
right.
but do we want the master plan to represent
Well, yeah, you can't put it in
the-
the master plan,
the
but you can.
core responses, the most directed
something that
responses,
the
or do we
township
wanna
board
have
can
it
do.
highlight things that, you know, one or two people said?
so I think what I'm hearing you say is that the fact that it got pulled out as a pull quote in the survey response box
Right,
is this really what we want to be highlighting from all the possible responses?
Exactly.
Gotcha.
I get it, yeah.
Gotcha.
Yeah, you don't want that. in the
Not that we don't want it in there and we don't want to suggest it, we don't
I'm
want it,
not-
but
Someday we
does
might not
this
be able
need
to
to be our
subsidize it,
full quote?
yeah.
I'm
Yeah.
not suggesting that
It's a
we,
layout.
I kinda get it.
that we edit
Yeah.
out any of the
but
responses.
Actually, that's a good
Gotcha.
idea.
Gotcha.
You know,
Same
it's just,
page.
most people aren't gonna read the master plan to begin with. Most people aren't gonna read all of the
Nope.
written responses that are in the appendix.
Right.
Why are we highlighting a handful of responses that weren't widely shared by the majority of the people that responded? Again, you know, with roughly 100 responses, 150 responses, it's not statistically significant, but it's directionally accurate with the people that, you know, bothered to take the survey.
What is our total population?
About 2,500?
2,500.
Yeah. You know, it's doubled since I've been here. I've been here 30 years and it's doubled.
Look at you.
Mhm.
Yeah, I can't believe
Where
it.
John goes, everyone follows.
I
Mhm.
guess so,
I
damn it.
guess.
I know, it's changed a lot.
And if the board wants to talk to a bunch of garbage collection companies and find one that would do the whole township for
Yeah, that would be a board decision.
a reasonable price, yeah, it's not our decision.
Yeah, no,
But it's,
no, I get it.
it's something
I
for
think
the
it's not
board
a
to
bad
think
idea.
about.
Hell, yeah, that'd be a good way to spend some of our money.
But following the previous page,
Help everybody out.
if, you know, natural, peaceful and quiet, in taxes, you know, a survey response, and there are several, you know, I moved here because, you know, it is, you know, very rural, uber rural,
Yeah, we need
one
to
of
keep
them
that,
said, you know.
we need to keep the rule. Definitely. we
Well,
gotta keep the
that's
rule.
my whole point. What do we really wanna highlight as responses? I don't think, you know, garbage collection or
I
somebody,
get
you
you,
know.
yeah, no.
I'll go to my
I get you.
classic example. I think we should have a go-kart track. What does that have to do with anything? You know,
No, I agree.
does that make sense?
Yep.
Second column, second paragraph down, you know, when asked to prioritize township funds, blah, 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 you know, existing road maintenance and road updates were the highest, which actually matches a survey that was sent out with the tax bills in 2024, the summer tax bills. The roads came back the surprising winner on that one. And lowest marks for prioritized funds are Township Hall, renovating existing Township Hall. Were lowest, you know. So if we're talking about those things, you know, it would seem to me that a highlighted survey response dealing with either the ups or the downs would make more sense. More on the upside. Or the third paragraph from the end where it's talking about home sizes and, you know, basically what I refer to as guest houses. You know, a comment about changing the zoning ordinances to allow a second home on property, which we currently don't allow for a guest cottage, you know. Interesting that our from the last census, our average age has gone down. We've got young families moving in, but we also have a lot of, you know, like, I can't remember the exact numbers again off the top of my head. Like a third of the population or 25% of the population are retirees. You know, grandma and grandpa want the kids to visit. House isn't big enough. Well, I can
Right,
build,
well,
build
you're
a
seeing
guest,
more,
I can build a guest cottage. No, you can't. You can't have a second home on your property. Well, I have.
you're seeing more combinations. With families
Well,
living
and
together.
caretaking, you know,
Well,
your
Yeah,
living
as
caretaker
as
doesn't
well.
necessarily wanna.
But yeah, I think we should still limit that, yeah.
So, anyway, anything else on this page?
I think it's interesting that in the zoning and regulations section, protecting water resources was the highest priority response. That's interesting to me. I'm not quite sure what zoning and regulations can do.
What,
I don't have experience with that.
what can we do more than state and federal EPA regulations already exist?
Mm-hmm.
One of, in conversations with Sarah outside of a meeting, one of the things that she clarified for me is a lot of and there are some responses in what she's produced so far that mystify me because we don't do that. You know, we don't have any, you know, and you're bringing up a good example. We don't have any say over, you know, water regulations.
Mm-hmm.
The zoning and planning commission enabling act and specifically talking about the master plan highlights a number of things that need to be responded to. And so this is a response to the requirements in the statute. It's, so we need to mention it.
Well, we do have zoning that requires green space and setbacks for property that, has water frontage.
Right. But some of these responses, like, we don't have water and sewer. Well, that's all we need to do is mention that we don't have it, we don't have any foreseeable plans for it.
Where can I get a copy of our current ordinances? Okay,
A website.
so Inland Township,
Or I can print you, I have a hard copy. I can make a copy for you. But they are on the
zoning.
website too, under government.
I'll be totally honest, I have not read them all in the past month. Since my appointment.
Well, something like this exercise does,
Oh,
it's like the third one down, there you go, third one down, right there.
zoning ordinance. Cool, so that's for me to get up to speed on.
Makes good bedtime reading.
Mm.
You'll fall asleep quickly.
– 80% of survey respondents have concerns about blight.
We're on the next page.
Um, sure, I'm just pulling out items that are popping out to me. And that one is in red font, so. Yeah, that's on the same page for me, but.
Yeah. And we are working on a new blight ordinance.
Not
How'd that
satisfied
go?
with
I
enforcement.
wasn't here last meeting, so are we still in limbo on that, or?
Well, we're not in a limbo.
Or whatever,
Mike is working on it.
Okay, good, yeah, good, good. I didn't know if
Drafting.
anything got approved.
Yeah.
Combined.
He's not available until after Thanksgiving break.
All right, good.
On the same page, the first full paragraph, 52 talks about types of commercial development. And I just have underlined because I don't know what it means, neighborhood commercial.
Yeah, it'd be good to have that defined. I would think neighborhood commercial would be,
That's the cottage law. Can you sell your garden goods?
farm
at your house?
stands
Yeah,
and
yeah,
that kind of
would
stuff.
be- That's what that would
maybe.
be.
Clarification
sure.
would be helpful.
Yeah,
Yep.
that's what that would, and it is a law.
And I wonder if it would have been clarified
There's
in
that's
the
a state
survey
law.
itself.
You can sell garden goods and stuff like that. Is there a coffee here, you know?
There's a gas station just down the
I
road.
know. I know, got good coffee too.
And halfway down the first column, historic preservation was important to most of those who filled out the survey. 13.5 disagreed, 15% had no opinion. Other than arguably Benton Hall, I don't know what there is of historic or preservable nature in Inland Township.
Yeah, but think perhaps the opposite of that would be development. So developing this corridor,
Well,
I think it goes back to the rural, we like the rural nature of this area.
Mhm.
so keeping the historic nature of the township as in historic preservation.
Yeah, maybe I'll take a look and see what the questions were.
Yeah.
This section I think will be very useful when we do start to attack, ordinances.
Mm-hmm.
And the certain response that she pulled out on the, oh,
Yeah.
this
No,
page,
I-
I think actually fits the theme of the word cloud that she pulled out. 2 pages prior, quiet, rural, peaceful. On to the next page, lower taxes and taxes, word bubble.
Yeah, in the public spaces and Parks and Recreation one, it talks about the respondents most never use the Bendon, Inland Township Hall in Bendon. And the condition seems to be folks think it's fair to poor. Um, do we know the actual condition of the building? Like, is it salvageable or?
The prior well, it's certainly salvageable. The prior supervisor had somebody come through, survey of it. Foundation is in bad shape, the roof is in bad shape. I'm not sure about the utilities. I never saw the physical report. I just got a recap from Dave. when he was
Usually
on.
is kept right up front here.
Well,
And I'm gonna interject there, if, people surveying obviously, or answered the survey, obviously don't use the building, but if you, as the treasurer who keeps the calendar, and, or if you look on the website and look at the calendar, like this week it's rented 5 out of 6 days.
Yeah.
That's good though.
So my follow-up question there
I
would
mean,
be,
that's a
what
good
types of
communities.
events are we having there?
Service.
Is it like small intimate funeral services,
I don't
or
know.
is it like
Never did
and
that.
weddings and things
know
like
that.
that, or is it community events? That would,
it's,
that would be
it's been things from,
As long as it's getting used, that's
church
okay.
sing-alongs to, family gatherings, euchre,
okay.
Yeah, that's fine.
Zumba kind of classes. And,
Well, we got plenty of
it's one of the
surplus.
things that will certainly come up on our capital improvement plan, that we need to do a in-depth, is it worth renovating? You know, well, for $3 million, probably not.
Yeah, no,
You
definitely.
know, for $3,000, certainly.
Right.
And somewhere in between those two figures is the real answer.
Mhm.
So we need to look at, what condition is it really in? It's certainly, I would, for my 2 cents, it's leaning towards the poor. If we really want it to be a useful space,
Yeah.
let alone, what codes may we be violating, in this. And then compare that against, this facility is certainly in much better shape, but we're running out of space for, uh, people that, not just the board members, the three key board members that are, using office space, but, our zoning administrator, is this, if we had a bigger facility or more useful shaped facility, you know, what could we do here? Do we want to do them both? We want to do one of them, I think that's something that's worthy of review, uh, in the capital improvement plan.
Yeah, that would be next, yeah. Yep, I agree. Cause yeah, the park's great, the nature area is good. We need to do is get rid of this. Keep 5 acres and then sell the 25, that's what we need to do.
Or sell all 30, who knows?
Yeah, right.
Um,
I'd keep 5 of it, yeah. But yeah,
For-
that's capital improvement.
for what use?
Well, if they, someday, they might wanna build a new.
Exactly,
township.
so look at
It
Golden
might not be
Bridge.
in our generation, but the next generation might wanna build a new township,
Well,
fire department and everything.
one of the things that
So that would, yeah.
we're also probably in technical violation of, if we don't have specific plans for a property, it goes back on the county tax rolls. Currently, we're not paying any taxes on that.
Right, right,
What are we gonna use it for?
Yeah.
Show me the plan.
right.
You can't.
Yeah, well, that's definitely that would definitely be in our planning.
Well, that's why I'm
Move it.
saying we can't just understand your concept of just setting it aside. We also have 2.5 acres in back that's not being used, you know. Um, I understand the direction of your thought is a good one, but we need to have a plan for it.
Right, right. Oh, that's
So-
good, yeah, that's what we're doing.
One thing that I would add to the lower taxes thought bubble is, in the same way she had pull quotes, I would find an appropriate tax quote to go along with it, since,
Yeah, I'd wanna validate that our taxes are higher in the area, or that might be a good place to put an analysis. Like is Inland Township really the highest in the area, or
well,
are we
I think we.
not? Put that next to it
Oh,
and
right.
say,
I think that's worth putting in, but, again, this is a section on feedback from the survey and what people had to say. So I think a tax quote and, certainly, I would be very interested how we compare to, other, and probably not just Benzie County, but, take a look at, Grand Traverse and Leelanau as well.
mm-hmm,
Because my understanding, talking to people, is and, I'm sitting next to two relatively new residents, picked Inland Township because taxes are a heck of a lot better than in Leelanau County or Grand Traverse County.
I wonder if there's just on that thought, if there's a different way that we could do, because all she's trying to do with the pull quote is to break up the text, so you don't have page after page after page of all text
Right.
into columns. It's a layout feature. So you could do the same, meet the same goal by throwing in actual analysis or things like that to it's to ground truth what we're seeing in the responses.
Mhm.
You know what I mean? To actually say, okay, we read the responses, this is what people are saying, but here's what data and facts show.
Mhm.
You know, and maybe not even have pull quotes at all. Her idea there is great is to break apart the text,
Mhm.
but I don't know that pull
Well,
quotes are the most useful way to do
I
that.
think in addition to breaking apart the text, it's to underscore the word bubble.
Themes. So that might be, yeah. Take a look at that.
So you on the next page yet?
Yeah. Yeah,
Um,
bump to the next page.
I'm not 100% sure we should show the vision wall. I mean, again, I understand her,
She
and
took that
actually
out.
I had a conversation with her, you know, it's just to show,
Yeah, she
But-
took
but-
that out of this version. It's
She
not
did.
in there.
okay.
So she's already made that change
Already
for
did
you.
it.
Yeah.
I'm going,
It's just got the green box and the brown box.
yeah, whatever you call that.
Reddish, I don't know. So, oh goodness. The highest once only had 3
Well,
votes. How many people did we have at the?
not many, a dozen-ish maybe.
Val, I think if you go to page 63, you'll get a general feel for,
Who was?
Who
Oh, they
was
put
in
a
the room.
picture. Okay.
or how many, not who.
Okay. Participants room.
Which does kind of raise the question, I mean, this was a kickoff meeting to kind of help put together the survey and,
Mm-hmm.
you know, questions to ask and so forth.
It was on September 22nd.
Do we want to include it at all?
I think it shows the fact that we did engage the public,
Mhm.
Mm-hmm.
so. Those who chose to attended.
Mhm.
Dog parks. 2 votes. Two votes.
Which is interesting because not so many years ago, a meeting earlier this year, somebody brought up the fact that there was a, what do you call them when you pass it? Get a bunch of people to sign something.
Petition.
A petition, thank you.
Mhm.
Who's short on sleep? Over 300 people that wanted a dog park. This several years ago. And only a handful showed up to talk about it,
At the park, yeah.
so.
You know, it's not really a good thing to have dogs all confined together. I have dogs.
Mhm.
That's not really a good thing. They fight.
And are you all up on your shots and other things and?
Yeah, you got a space, we got a big space to walk your dog,
Yep.
yeah.
This one's a community look and feel box. There's a number 1 on the top of it. Guess it would be bottom left on that page. Commercial properties don't appear to have a supervised vision. Appears a bit haphazard and keep concentrated, not spread along the 31 corridor. And now it's only 2 people that said that, but I think that is kind of where the master plan comes into play is,
Mhm.
you know, with our future land use, we've got most of the commercial along 31. And then near Bendon Hall. So and then over by Turtle Lake, because.
Our problem is we have residential mixed in with commercial.
Mhm.
We can't just say it's all commercial.
Correct.
That's the problem, so
Right.
we have to, I'm almost got to leave it the way it is, you know.
Yeah, but, you know, we can,
Well, and how much commercial can we?
You don't really
actually-
want,
actually
everything's
extract
down the
what we
road.
want?
They're gonna put a Myers in Dumb's Corners, so I mean,
Yeah.
you don't have to go very far to get your supplies and needs.
Val, to that point, it's a good one. The future land use actually addresses that. So this statement says, doesn't appear to have a supervised vision. This would say, we have a
have a
supervised.
supervised vision, vision.
Yeah. Leave it the way it is.
Well, and it would change upon, uh, property turnover, I wanna say, property sales, I mean.
But that's zoning.
Mixed use and, yeah.
If you sell your residential land, you can't just turn it into
And that,
commercial.
that as much as anything should be part of the education process baked into the master plan. Get people to understand that a future plan is not zoning. Because I think a number
Yeah,
of people are
correct.
going to,
Very correct.
you know, this big red box that's over a bunch of residential properties, people are gonna freak out. You know, this is again, Sarah taking a shot at this. You know, at least we're not, you know, couple iterations of the planning commission ago, they wanted all of 31 to be commercial. It's, you know,
Really?
very much to your point.
Yeah, that wouldn't work.
No, I don't think so.
Yeah.
In the zoning regulations, we've got, restrict commercial driveway access to US 31, one common drive for several businesses. That's a interesting idea, as we have commercial,
Right.
Mhm.
you know, that's coming in there.
Yeah,
That
see, that's
also-
the good thing. That Dollar General never should have got Reynolds Road access, you know, I mean, that was the key factor there. Should have been on 31, they had it, yeah.
Mhm.
And then the county would never would have gave them, the county allowed that, you know.
Mm.
Would you have shared?
You know, actually, now I
Access.
would now. I would now. I would now, yeah. But, cause we go behind it. Have you been down the trail?
Still,
I'm so
that
mad.
trail's been there a long
I'm so
time.
mad. Don't even wanna get into this one.
Sorry.
But yeah. Yeah, that must have been a variance somehow. They got that.
Can we crop the picture to get this guy out of the shot?
You missed that there were flip charts. I'd like to know what these actual statistics are. In the next sections, in her summary section,
Mhm.
you know, she's got bullets in here of, well, the population of those 65 years and older is also growing steadily. The median age in Inland Township is quite a bit lower than the median age in Benzie County. Even just throw the real numbers in those, in parentheses or something. Like that.
What page are you on now?
For me, it is page 64, so
The
maybe
summary
page 60
page.
to you, for you? Do you have a summary page?
Or chapter 6.
Nope, yours ends right there.
Yeah.
Okay,
She added in a summary page,
okay.
so.
That'll teach me to not look at the updates.
Include public cemeteries. Cemetery.
I think they're all in the same spot.
Three are along 31, and then you have Brundage.
EMS station? I was just looking for the. I don't know. Oh, here's Brundage Creek.
It's just down.
Yeah, it's in the middle of nowhere. You're gonna take a two-track to get to it.
Yeah, that's cool. That's a cool spot. Right, huh?
Can we take a recess and print, the new updated?
We can move on to the next chapter, that's fine by
Okay.
me.
Another hour I can do. I got some turkeys in the smoker.
Oh, nice.
And I gotta go every 2 hours, I got. I'm doing.
Is the vision statement on page 68?
Mhm. See, vision statement, yeah, it's on page, it's 68 on the side. Yep.
Yep. Well, one of the things that jumped out at me for this statement is affordable housing, which gets
Mhm.
but one of the things that I think I'd like clarified is enhancing essential services.
Fostering safe, welcoming neighborhoods. Enhancing essential services. Recreation. Well, ultimately, anything that we're recommending, we're saying this is an essential service. So whether it's parks or it's roads or it's fire department or whatever.
The essential services isn't as much as the thesaurus in my head,
We got it,
affordability
yeah,
and
we got it pretty good.
affordability and enhancing.
Yeah, this is approved.
Yeah, yeah.
Moving on.
So what do you wanna do with that? Pond, pond.
Goals and
I
strategies.
think it's just a picture.
Oh, okay. Cause that was, yeah, that was DNR. That's DNR.
Strategies. So is this the summary that she had printed for us? Last meeting.
So the goals and strategies are. I mean, she had a goals and strategies separate out, then in chapter. Chapters. Thanks. Implementation program. It's actually, we're about to hit in chapter 7, goals and strategies. That's what chapter 7 is all about. One of the things that I'd just like to revisit on, page 70, master plan, page 70, strategy 1.3, provide clear procedures for township officials to guide key decision-making requirements. I guess that was the whole point of, at our last regular meeting, the responsibilities for the board, the planning commission, the zoning administrator, and the zoning board of appeals is just trying to put into text and put into place clear procedures for the township officials to guide key decision making. So that was the reason for my last motion. It went nowhere.
So are we diving into goals now and strategies?
Yeah, we're in that section now.
So I think about, and I spent a lot of time here. Goals and SMART goals being specific, measurable, attainable, realistic, and time bound. So goal number one is improve transparency, communication, fiscal responsibility, and efficiency within the township. So not very specific, not measurable. So from what to what?
Mm-hmm.
So, and we could just say communication. Now, some of them may be answered in the strategy, so it's kind of why I wished Sarah was here, that way I could have picked her brain a little bit on the choice of words. But, so, let's just say communication. Where is it today?
Right.
Where do we want it to be at the end of 5 years
Mhm.
when the master plan runs? So, I just feel like that's kind of a nebulous goal. Improve. Well, how? And so I'll give you an example, and I'll share, I printed this out for each of us.
Thank you.
So like, 1.2. So like 1.2, maybe instead of seek to maintain, we consider implement a multimedia communication strategy, for example, website, social media, newsletter, to inform township residents.
Mm-hmm.
There it becomes a little bit clearer and a little bit more specific. So that's on 1.2. So as I just like just improve communication, responsibility, and efficiency, just seems like I don't know how you track that. Where is it today? Where do you want it to be? And maybe the suggestion on 1.2 helps us get us there. I don't know. These are just my thoughts. And even just to back up to strategy 1.1, I think we should add in an annual review.
Yeah.
So we should just
I get-
sandwich that
yeah,
into that
yeah, yeah.
sentence.
At least we tried.
Yeah. Because if we don't do an annual review, it's 5 years later, and guess what? We gotta do a master plan again.
Right.
And we haven't,
We haven't reviewed
we
it.
haven't looked at it. Where are we versus our goals that we've had? And as you go through 5 years, maybe year 3, you wanna adjust something.
Mhm.
Maybe this is the direction we go versus what we said.
Do we make a mistake? Yeah. Did we make a mistake?
I think that's a good idea, and
Should have
probably
done
why
that.
the Planning
Yeah,
Commission Enabling Act actually includes a provision that we do
you can
an
amend it.
annual report to the board.
Yeah,
So
so,
if you wanna add it
Yeah.
as a redundant thing that we're gonna do for the master plan,
yeah, well, it's a strategy, right?
well, it's,
So in my experience, goals, strategies, action plans, this language of it is less important than the idea of there's levels.
Okay.
So there's an overarching, like, this is the more fluffy North Star that we're going after. And then here's how we're gonna do that. And then the actual actions, the truly smart goal or smart action that we're gonna do. We're gonna assess what our multimedia looks like today. We're going to, um, you know, things that can be assigned to a person is that lowest level. But that it has to be a bit of a hierarchy so that you've got bigger goals and then how you're gonna get there.
Okay.
So rather than having all of the detail in the high level goal, that's been my experience with this kind of stuff. And the thing I will say is that Sarah's role in this is to help us come up with those bigger ideas, not really
Indeed.
the how are we actually going to get
Yeah.
it done. She's not
Right.
the one to know how to actually
Yeah,
get
and
it
I think
done.
that's the purpose of
So-
the workshop today,
Yeah,
is,
yeah,
is to, amongst all of us kids here,
yeah.
put the how behind the what.
Mm-hmm.
So, and maybe we just go
yeah.
through goal 1, strategy 1, and then move on to strategy 1.2 and whatnot, and, between the collective group here. And so again, I'm not recommending a change to goal 1.
Mhm.
I think when you look at strategies, it may give you that how. Support the development and annual review of a capital improvement plan.
Want this for that whiteboard?
That is
Oh, it's not.
unfortunately.
It's not a
Yeah, it's a whiteboard.
dry erase whiteboard.
There's no marker.
Fire chief said,
Test it in the corner.
Yeah, it is a whiteboard.
okay, there you go. It looks like there's an
So
eraser.
write it on there. That way
There's an
we-
eraser up there, but not
That's
a.
a good idea. Then we'll remember. Next meeting, we'll remember, yeah.
Oh, that's not an eraser.
Hey, this is what we want to change.
Look at Rosemary.
Check you out. We got a whole bunch of supplies here.
Have you been to the UP lately,
Make
Ted?
sure that this
Not since,
rips.
first week of October.
Yeah, you like that Grand Marion, don't you?
Yeah,
That's
us
nice.
memory.
That's our favorite village, yeah.
Yeah.
That's cool.
It might need some spray or something when we do it, but. Oh. Do you want, let me try this. Oh, these are interactive pens.
Well, that's for the unit. The apps on the video display above tracks, and you can hook up a computer, so as you're writing on the whiteboard, it's creating a.
Wow, that's really fancy. We do something pretty fancy.
That is.
Equipment.
No one knows how to do that.
Somebody. Somebody must know how to do it. So. Okay, so just to like think through one, if we're on goal 1, we've got. What is it? Transparency, communication,
Yeah.
responsibility.
I just want to do an annual, yeah. That's a good idea. Yeah. You never know.
Transparency.
Yeah.
Communication.
Fiscal responsibility.
Yeah, we gotta do that too. Or no, we need to do the capital plan, yeah.
Capital.
That'll be after this, the master plan, yeah. That'd be a good one. Yeah.
And efficiency. So then my brain would say, if these are the things that are in our goal, then our strategies are gonna hit on these things. So transparency, support the development and annual review of the capital improvement plan and other financial planning efforts for the township. So 1.1 goes with fiscal responsibility. Is equals capital improvement plan. 1.2, seek to maintain and improve communication methods with township residents. Communication is 1.2. Methods. Inventory. And then 3 is provide clear procedures for township officials to guide so that's probably our transparency. It's 1.3 equals procedures. So efficiency is tied into all of those.
I would think that would fall under fiscal responsibility as well.
Yeah, I feel like responsibility and the word "and" ties efficiency to responsibility.
Oh, and efficiency.
Yeah.
Okay, so this is actually part of that with an and. Okay, so it's not a separate item. It's a piece of it. Okay, so then I guess I'm not opposed to these. And then the next thing we would do is like our actions. So how are we gonna do procedures? Do we currently have transparent procedures? Or do we need, you know, the role definitions that you threw out last month?
Well,
Or like, how do we get there?
so supposedly.
Public input, but
Supposedly policies and
We get
procedures
that.
were being reviewed last year. Our manager Saracens spent a fair amount of time on it. I don't know where it wound up. That was what I was trying to address at the last meeting from a, whether you call it a policy or a procedure, doesn't matter, just a clarification and transparency, so we all agree this is the way something is going to be handled.
So to answer your question, Val, it would be on page 5 of the action items that Sarah had sent to us.
Okay.
So there's 10 of them there.
Research and establish a planning process to develop the CIP. Participation. Baseline training. Yeah. So it sounds like some of this work may have already been done by the consultants, by Manic
Marcus Harrison.
Nanner.
Just call him
Man-
Marcus Harrison.
Like please and thank you, like Nanner. But Nanner, okay.
They also do consulting work at the county level.
Okay. So, but I also like this idea that these should be smarter things that have time bound and so I don't know where we want to add that in. But it seems like we are, I mean, even just with the analysis of this first one, the words in the goal are leading us to our strategies, which are then leading us to our actions. So it's chunking it down, taking it from a big idea into actionable items.
Well, just looking at 1.3 transparency, I mean, there's a certain amount of it, the Open Meetings Act addresses that we can't get together to do what we're doing like this, just at somebody's home and, you know.
Right.
You know, the Open Meetings Act, you know, our business, the board's business needs to be conducted in a public meeting, as this is. And if we broadcast, can also serve, you know, that function as well. From the standpoint of policies and procedures, it's not the planning commission's responsibility to come up with policies and procedures. That's the board's responsibility itself to do it.
Mhm.
You know, going off of the suggestion that was provide clear procedures for township officials to guide key decision-making and requirements, since the information that we got at the MTA meeting of, here's some confusion when a resident has an issue for the planning commission or the zoning administrator, who handles what?
Mhm.
I was using their definitions to try to define it for the board.
But I guess I would throw in that there's probably a lot more procedures that we need
Oh,
to
there is.
have outlined in order to make those roles really useful.
And it's the board's responsibility
To do that.
tackle that, not
Yeah.
ours.
Yeah.
This is into the planning commission's or zoning administrator's responsibilities, then we can toss our 2 cents in.
Mhm.
And again, while we are a quasi-independent body under state statute, we still report to, and final word is the board's.
Mhm.
So, we can make recommendations, but
Ted, as our representative from the board, how do you see this process like working? So like if we're writing goals and strategies and things like that, and a lot of the actions are ultimately taken by the board, how is that supposed to work?
So I see this less a master plan for the planning commission
Mm-hmm.
and a master plan for all. So it's not about the planning commission has responsibility or doesn't have responsibility for policies and procedures. It's the master plan includes the township board as well. Because
Okay.
they have to approve it. So having the action plans in there lays out for the board what needs to be done.
Okay.
So the master plan's not a planning commission owned only for the planning commission. It's for the board and the planning commission, and it lays out for our community where we want to be over the course of the next 5 years.
I don't disagree, but under actions, is it the action of the planning commission to come up with those procedures, or is it the action of the township board to come up with those procedures?
I wonder if there's some crossover there.
So as we go through this,
There is, from the standpoint of what I tried to present at the last regular meeting. Here are 4 things that can be very confusing and apparently are very confusing. Lay out who's responsible for what stage of a zoning question that somebody might come to the township with. Who do I talk to?
So the piece of that, I want to say proposal that you brought to us at the meeting, the piece of that I wasn't really understanding why it was in front of us was that, to me, it would be more beneficial for us to be proposing actual procedures than just defining the roles. I mean, if we're gonna provide input to the township board to say, hey, this is how we think things should work,
That's,
then let's give them an actual procedure.
that's what they were. If you go back and read them, it's a procedural step of who's responsible for what.
Okay, to me, it didn't have the process of, this step, this level question goes, and maybe it was just because I was looking at it.
I think,
In
I
isolation.
think the point the MTA was making and that I was echoing is not to have a step-by-step for every possible scenario that comes along,
Mhm.
but just the general categories. And I don't disagree that, this is a master plan for everyone. I think that's a given. But when it comes to, policies and procedures are online as well, Rosemary, correct?
They are,
Yeah.
the current ones, not the one that Manor, has
Well,
been working
I
on.
don't know the manners were ever approved officially.
They were not.
They weren't when I was on the board.
They were not.
But my point is, there's a whole policies and procedure that gets into a bunch of detail about all sorts of things. That's not a master plan purview. That's, we can say, the board should have policies and procedures that they follow in an open process.
Mhm.
But it's not our responsibility to come up with those, and I think the amount of amount of time that we have as individuals and a planning commission to put into things, we're gonna be swamped with not only the capital improvement plan, but going over the ordinances, which are our purview of, this is how they should be written. The board then either agrees or disagrees and approves a final version. But, you know, for us to come up with, you know, from the standpoint of actions, I don't think our action is to write the policies and procedures manual for the township. That's the board's responsibility.
I hear you. It's definitely the board's responsibility. One of my perspectives in life is if you're not at the table, you're on the menu.
Okay,
So as a planning commission, if we're not participating in writing procedures and in telling the township board, this is how we think it should be, how it should work, then it's gonna be dictated to us, and it might not be how we would choose to be involved.
okay.
So,
I understand that, but
yeah,
come back to the next meeting and revisit that point after you've read the policies and procedures.
yeah, right. I'm behind the eight ball here. I have not read all the policies and procedures. I'm brand new. So, yeah,
And
That's-
to
that's
your point,
perspective on
you know, I don't necessarily want to be a menu item, but the board can tell us what to do.
right.
You know, we can suggest to the board, but we can't tell them that they have to do anything.
So to me, I think goal one has strategies that match what we're trying to do there.
Mhm,
I guess is where I'm going here. And then we'll get to the actions on page 5, if we want to pull that out. That's where my brain is like, let's just make sure these things make sense. So I don't know if this is useful for you.
And John, do we have consensus with you? Are you?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. Okay, so goal
I'm
2.
good with it.
is
I got a half hour.
management Road system. Current road system. Plan for future.
That is one thing I'd like to find out, that township millage on the roads, you know.
It is just under, currently 1 mil and
Yeah,
equals the county.
is that,
1 mil.
yeah, that was just kind of pushed on us, and
Mhm.
so like, well.
And that's
It'd be
beauty of the
interesting.
master plan. It starts to
Remember
shine
when that
light on it.
hit, you know, and it was like, oh, okay, yeah, yeah.
Environmental. Okay, so our strategies are continue to coordinate with federal, state, and county transportation authority systems. So this is 2.1.
Yeah.
Oops, 2.1 equals coordination with state fed. Okay, so then 2.2 require traffic impact study. Buildings over certain number of units. Okay.
It's just my reco.
Yeah.
It's not a part of the,
The only thing that I would,
I mean, if you're just trying to line up 2.2 on where it goes for the goal.
It goes
Yeah,
here with the
yeah.
planning for a future, right?
Yeah.
2.2 equals traffic studies.
and again, you know, not to be wordsmithing, but, you know, maybe there's a legal reason for, require traffic impact studies.
I don't know what you do about traffic.
You know, just
Anything you can do about
require
traffic.
traffic studies. I mean,
Yeah.
and I've had conversations with our supervisor that, you know, we need to take a survey of our roads and, you know, rather than having the county tell us where they're going to be working and how they're going to do something, we should be telling them well, we think that this road
This
needs.
is our highest priority.
Yeah,
Well, roads are gonna get worse. They didn't get their funding. You know, road commission didn't get that.
well, they're not gonna,
So they're gonna, yeah, they're gonna.
well,
I was like, man, the day of the vote, I'm like, hey, if you graded my road.
it should.
They did after the vote.
So
That might have helped.
2.3 is
Yeah, they're
encourage
not gonna do
alternative
nothing.
modes of transportation where practical and design that promotes rather than prevents their use.
I actually question, you know, again, this might be one of the things that Sarah included because we need to respond to it in the survey. But I don't know that it's the township's responsibility to be encouraging alternative modes of transportation.
Might be interesting to you guys, starting next year, no sales tax on gas.
Right.
So it's gonna go 20
Mhm.
cents a gallon.
Mm-hmm.
So now that gas prices are falling.
And it's gonna fall even further, maybe, and then go
well, you're
back
gonna
up.
pay 50 cents a gallon, state tax. Yeah. Just for state tax, yeah. Then you got your 19 cent federal.
So 2.3 for impact? Minimum impact.
So I'm thinking that
Okay,
alternative modes is part of this future planning,
so future planning, got it.
as part of the future planning
All right.
objective or, you know, that we're really working towards. And someplace where encouraging alternative modes falls under what we do would be if there's a sidewalk ordinance. You know, making sure that new developments have sidewalks so that people can use alternative modes of transportation to get to them. If there's a, you know,
My concern is with the word encouraging. You know, we can certainly,
Yeah.
you know, investigate alternative modes, we can be adaptable to the alternative modes, you know. The question is, as a township, why are we encouraging
Yeah.
alternative modes?
I think, you know, to be honest, I don't think we need to get into housing. You know, we want this to be rural,
Well,
rural area. We don't need to get into setting a plan for housing.
we'll get there, but again, you know, one of the things that Sarah said, you know, we're responding to things that are in the statute. But I don't disagree. I mean, when it gets to affordable housing, you know, at the MTA meeting, you know, somebody threw out the comments that, you know, somebody came in with a big plan that affordable housing was, you know, homes starting at and going up from 250,000,
Right.
and the room laughed.
Yeah, that's not us.
You know,
We shouldn't even get into housing.
define
Say
affordable.
no.
right.
Well, maybe I think about it a little bit differently on the encourage alternative modes is that when I look at our township, we don't have any bike trails to where you cannot ride a bike safely on 31
Mhm.
or Reynolds Road or
A guy,
Lake Ann
one of
Road.
my employees, he rides a scooter down 31.
Is that right?
I've seen them.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah.
so
Yeah, he almost got
do
wiped
we
out.
encourage going
He
forward
gets ran over a couple times.
sidewalks, bike trails, or a wider road that allows for, because 31 as it stands today, doesn't have a setback. Or an
Well, they put
area
that-
for
I don't even
bicycle.
understand why they did
So
that.
do we as a
Right lane there.
township
Yes,
encourage
that
that?
helped him.
And likely we should.
Well, and going back to the previous chapter, that was something that was suggested but didn't get a lot of support in the survey. So why are we encouraging something that doesn't get a lot of support? And I'm just hung up on the word encouraging. Why are we steering anything? You know, certainly adapt, you know, if we have a ton of families move in that, you know, wanna ride their bikes around all over the place, you know, certainly we need to react to that. But, you know, are we encouraging, you know, alternative forms of transportation? You know,
So is it your suggestion to strike 2.3 altogether?
No, I don't like the word encouraging.
Okay.
Oh, encouragement, yeah.
Consider
shouldn't probably
alternative
encourage
modes of
anything.
transportation
Much better.
where practical and design that promotes
should
rather
just
than
do it.
prevent their use.
Mm-hmm.
Consider. Cause development takes many, many, many years. Like, you've been here 30 years.
Right.
Have things developed in the way that 30 years ago somebody
Oh, yes. No,
like thought that they would?
no, it just expanded.
It just expanded. It
Yeah.
just happened.
Yep. it
And
did.
people did whatever the heck they wanted to on whatever property
Pretty
they
much,
bought, and
yeah.
then
That was the
you
cool
know.
thing about living, yeah,
yeah.
in Inland
Yeah.
Township, yeah.
So
You
then
can
the
do what you
question
want.
is, for the next 30 years,
Yeah.
do we want development like that to
We should
continue?
limit, yeah, I agree. We should
Or
limit
do
it.
we want to say, okay, this section's gonna be where we put our commercial, and this section's gonna be mixed use, and this section's, gonna
Should
have
just leave it like it
multiple
is, yeah.
businesses
Yeah.
that go to one driveway, so it's safer off 31. Like, we can
Yeah. No, I
control
agree.
those kinds of
I agree.
things.
It's, yeah. I lost it. When I first moved here, I lived up north, I moved from the Thumb area. And I lived up north. I'm like, man, this is so cool. Now, I don't feel like I'm up north anymore. I gotta go to UP to feel like I'm up north. So yeah, it lost
So I
its.
feel like we have consensus on
Lost its.
thinner versus frontage. Consensus on that, so Rosemary, you wanna make sure that you capture 2.3.
So 3 is land use policy decisions should be driven to preserve and protect valuable open space, scenic areas, waterways, natural resources. Okay, so preserve and protect, and this is just me summarizing. So tell me if you think I'm wrong here. Protect. The overarching goal language to me says preserve and protect. And we are preserving and protecting open space,
Wetlands. Yeah.
scenic areas.
Do you have wetlands in there? Cause that's right next to me. I live on,
Waterways.
right next to Morrow Road. I don't know if you're familiar with that. There's a big wetlands in there.
Natural
Flat River.
resources.
Yeah, that's big wetlands in there. Watershed, it'd be watershed, yeah. Watershed. Yeah.
Possibly less is more, driven to preserve and protect. You know, we missed wetlands or swamps as they were called when I was a kid.
Yeah, now they're protected.
Yeah.
That's a good one.
The last part of the sentence is the important part, in order to maintain the township's rural character and maintain land value. I mean, all of those, I'm a big fan of less is more, because as soon as you start naming things, you miss things like wetlands. You know, the goal 3 is preserve rural character
And land value.
and land value.
So, but our strategies that are related to this are require on-site stormwater detention and retention systems to reduce environmental impacts and maintenance issues.
Well, the question that I have on that one's, among developments, does that include homes? Or is that just commercial developments?
Mm,
Because zoning in most places for commercial developments, you have to have a retention pond now.
mhm.
Is it? And while this is not an ordinance, this is what our ordinances are built off of. And having my experience with the gravel fight 6 years ago, the master plan is directional, hopeful, it acts as a guide. It has absolutely no weight in a court of law. What does is the ordinance itself. So if we have ordinances, that will address this, but it just, as a guide, my question is, retention systems among commercial developments? Just leaving it developments,
Well, I feel like a single family home is not a development. A subdivision, a PUD, or a commercial, that's a development.
Mhm.
So, I mean, I feel like if we say commercial, then if somebody wanted to put in 100-unit subdivision somewhere,
That's commercial development.
it would be commercial.
No,
That's a-
it's residential.
It would be residential, it'd be R1 or RR. It wouldn't be C1.
Okay. In my head, commercial means that I'm doing it for profit, I'm developing a subdivision. You know, it's a commercially developed subdivision of private homes. So,
I think there's some nuance there because you're using it for resident, like, we wouldn't make the commercial developer of a subdivision meet the same requirements as a commercial property, I guess.
Yeah.
I
well,
would put them in the residential property kinds of,
Well, we ran into that
rulemaking.
same problem with the trailer park,
well, yeah.
that's commercial land, but it's residential, I mean,
Mhm.
I was surprised about that, it's like, well, yeah, it's all commercial land, but it's residential.
Well,
So they
it-
fall
it-
under
it
the
goes ba-
commercial rules,
It goes back to my question,
yeah, so
under this one,
I guess it would be commercial.
you know, does 3.1 include homes?
yeah, I don't know.
Yeah, and again, I don't see home as a development, a single-family home as a development.
Right.
So I don't think we're gonna tell everyone they need to have a retention pond in
Right.
their backyard going forward. I see a development as a large planned unit, commercial as in, the, the go-kart
Mm-hmm,
Idea?
example,
Yep.
right?
mm-hmm.
So I
Even-
just feel like by
even-
putting commercial in there, we would, if we had Ted's Building Company and I purchase some property and I want to put 100 units in, I don't have to follow this because I'm not commercial,
Right.
because it's not C1.
Residential, yeah. So maybe development is a more vague term that would then allow us to define C1 versus residential
Okay.
PUD, in our ordinances more.
So as far as consensus, 3.1 does not include homes.
3.1 does not include homes as written.
Okay, then I'm fine.
Direct intensive development. And Ted, you pulled that one out. Is that defined as what is
In the
intensive?
ordinance, and then I went back and I've gone through the ordinance. That particular term, intensive development,
Mhm.
isn't found in the ordinance. With what we do see under rural residentials, it says a transitional between low-density forest and more intensive single family. So that's really the only where we find intensive
Okay.
in the zoning ordinance. I'm just calling it out as there's a term there, direct quote, intensive development, end quote, that we don't see in the current zoning ordinance. Should it be? Maybe it should be. And maybe that's why it's in there. It's just for us to have a conversation around. I'm not saying strike it or move it, make it better. It's more for all of us to ask the question of ourselves.
And what's the question?
Is intensive development the right term when it's currently not in our, so if we have Ted's Building Company going and I want to put in my go-kart course, and I look at the ordinances, which is what's upheld, and say, there's no intensive development written in your ordinance anywhere. Therefore, my go-kart course doesn't apply. So,
Yeah, where's the nuance gonna be of whether it does or doesn't apply?
it seems it's rather interpretive.
My question here is, I feel like the strategies are action items. Require on-site stormwater detention and retention systems. That is a policy to have. I mean, versus, what page was it? Page 5, I think, we started our potential action items. Where did that go? Potential action items related to maintaining the township's rural character. Then doesn't say anything about retention and detention of, I mean. Am I making sense there?
Actually, so on page 7 of those tasks,
Uh-huh.
under related goals, strategies, protect water. Number
Protect
1.
water, number 1. So if it's an action item, does it fit as a strategy?
You're going back to 3.1.
Yeah, 3.1. I feel like we're repeating it as a strategy and then also as an action we're gonna take. I almost want a in between there.
I don't think you're wrong.
Well, I guess reading it over and over again, somebody wants to develop another subdivision, you know, 20 homes, 50 homes, you know, number doesn't really matter. What this is saying is we would direct intense development, which I would consider a subdivision development to be intense development because it's more than one home. How are we gonna direct it towards others, you know, existing subdivisions when the property, I mean, I've got a 150 acre property just north of me that is, you know, potentially developable into, you know, apartments, homes, you know, whatever.
Mhm.
Well, that's not anywhere near existing subdivisions. You know,
Well, that then would speak to lot sizes?
well, it speaks to lots of,
It's a great point, and I think it is addressed in here. Let's see. Yeah, goal 6. Support existing businesses and concentrate future commercial developments along key corridors and support increased employment opportunities year round. So it's a good point, Jim.
Yeah. You know, I was disappointed she never did do the survey with the 2.5 versus 1 acre lot, you know?
Ask that question.
Oh, that was kind of surprising because we brought that up the first thing, you know?
Yeah.
Do we,
yeah,
I'll tell you right now, I'm for the 2.5 acres. And I would never sign off on
Yeah.
that 1 acre lot, so.
Okay.
But maybe that's more of a zoning, would that be more of a
that's a,
zoning issue?
well, it's a zoning issue and something that we can address in zoning.
Yeah,
I've got neighbors that wanna flip ours from rural residential to forest residential, go from
Sure,
2.5 to 5 acres.
yeah, just to get the tax break.
Is there a tax break for that?
Yeah, there is, yeah, there is, yeah.
I don't know.
That's interesting.
So Val, where are you on 3.1 versus the task that supports it, where it seems?
It just seems like they're the same thing.
Well, again, this is our master plan. We can rearrange these any way we want.
Right.
Well, I'm just trying to get us to move on.
Right, yeah, that was what I was thinking too, is how do we get to the next? So it's listed in the related water resources. Okay, so water resources, so I'm just gonna make a note here that 3.1, this is an action. Not a strategy.
Actually, it's a zoning ordinance.
Right, so there's an ordinance there, is the action, is to write an ordinance, so it's an action.
So are we saying 3.1 is stricken?
That's what I'd say.
Before we strike it, we should check with
Required.
Sarah if it's a requirement of,
So,
I'll have to
and
read
then
that section on master planning again.
3.3, support programs, policies, and regulations to maintain open lands and forested areas.
Not to sit on 3.1, but the EPA just got, at a federal level, it just got a spanking for overreach.
Really?
And at one point, I think it was, can't remember if it was under Obama or under Clinton. If you could float a canoe in a piece of water, it was considered navigable, and the EPA would come in and control it. I mean, there are a couple of,
Oh, so there was no
Cases.
private waterways.
you know, this is ridiculous stuff. So, you know, some of this stuff might be responding to a requirement that is in flux,
Okay.
is my point.
So I guess my recommendation here would be 3.1 and 3.2 are listed as action items. And I think as they're written, that's where they belong, is action items. 3.3, supporting programs, policies, and regulations to maintain open lands and forested areas, seems like it goes with the goal to me.
Mhm.
3.4, support and participate in county, regional, state, and federal programs that protect water quality and water resources, seems like a strategy on how we're gonna get to preserving and protecting our rural character and land value, for me, not action items. 3.1 and 3.2 seem like action items to me. But I'd say bump them to
I
the
don't
action
disagree with you
items.
at all.
That's what I think.
Works for me.
Okay.
John?
I'm good with it.
So then, how's your time doing?
I'm gonna leave in 5 minutes. So.
5 minutes,
But that's
okay,
fine.
we have
No,
5
no,
minutes.
keep your meeting going. I just, I just can't spend all day, so no problem. Do what you guys wanna do. I trust you.
Support existing housing
Yeah.
needs by providing adequate services, financial opportunities, and regulations in order to maintain health, safety, and property values. Programs and code enforcement.
Question that I have in the goal is, how do we provide financial opportunities?
Yeah, and I don't know that I like that language either, and Ted's got a note here that from, to flip that to provide adequate services, blight remediation, and code enforcement. So that would, Ted, correct me if I'm wrong here, but that would strike financial opportunities and regulations to replace with adequate services defined by blight remediation and code enforcement.
Yeah, which are two things that are in the word clouds that we,
Mhm.
Yeah.
I don't know that I'd strike regulations though. Because our ordinances are the regulations, or change the word from regulations to ordinances.
Existing housing.
Rosemary, how are you set on time?
what does that mean? Rosemary? What is-
Yeah, it's pretty crappy outside, so.
It's getting gross.
I gotta
You
go
might wanna
check out my
hunker down
turkeys.
here.
I gotta check my turkeys out.
Tomorrow, Thursday, you're gonna say this is balmy weather.
I know,
We're
it's
supposed
supposed to
to
be a big storm. Here we go. Yeah.
This is why I don't live in Houghton.
Okay. For
So-
existing housing, provide adequate services. Services. These are the things we're gonna do.
And regulations, just strike financial opportunities.
And then we're going to provide regulations. Regulations. And we're going to maintain health, safety, and property values. Maintain,
Or providing adequate services and regulations in order to maintain health, safety, and property.
so are these our strategies? We're supporting existing housing to maintain health, safety, and property values, and this is how we're doing it. Providing adequate services, providing regulations. So then, do our strategies speak to our how we're gonna do it? Provide methods to assure gradual renewal and rejuvenation of deteriorating residential structures.
Are we moving on to 4.1?
Yeah, I'm kind of wondering how they tie back together.
Well, what is the township? What methods the township capable of?
Two things, blight ordinances and enforcement. Good question, and I think that's what the survey has found, that blight continues to bubble up. So how do you do that? You have strong ordinance and enforcement.
We have blight issues on residential structures. Most of the blight issues that I'm aware of are basically junk in the yard.
Right.
And, if we want to change strategy 4.1 to address blight, I don't have any issue with that. But specifically, it says methods to assure the gradual renewal and rejuvenation of deteriorating residential structures.
Or areas.
Well, I'm focusing on the residential structure.
Yeah.
How do?
Yeah. It's a good question. But if there's a dilapidated house and we just have areas in there, is that a way that the homeowner can shoehorn in and say, yeah, no, you're just talking about the cars that I have on blocks in my yard, but not my house, which is
Well, that guy down
whatnot.
on Reynolds Road, he's got a semi-trailer.
Maybe it should be and or
Why has he got a semi-trailer?
instead of
That should be removed.
junk cars.
How
I
many
mean,
cars
he's
have-
gotten better. I'm sure you guys have been,
I think he's gotten worse.
oh, really?
Yeah.
Oh, geez, yeah, that's surprising
You've
because
gone-
I think, I seen him. I was like, oh, yeah,
Gone
I
past
figured you
the-
guys been after him, so.
Val, I'm with you.
Like, get that semi-trailer out of there.
Better defining the goal
Mhm.
of support existing housing to maintain health, safety, and property values.
And
Well,
this is how we're gonna do
Hate to
it.
bust up the meeting, but I gotta go, guys. I'm sorry.
Well,
Appreciate it.
Fine, leave us hanging.
Yeah, have fun. You guys are doing a great job.
Good job.
2 hours, yeah, good job.
Thanks for
I'm
coming.
just in for 2
Drop
hours.
those two to Hal,
Okay.
and
See you,
I
John.
say support
Yep, see ya.
existing housing that maintains. Health, safety, and property values.
Maintains health,
Also,
safety, and property values.
Nicely open-ended, that leaves the door open to say you've got a rundown house, ordinance on that, you have junk in your, you've got a blight ordinance on that.
And maybe it's not that, maybe it's just, we pick up where it says, in order to maintain health, safety, and property values. So it reads, support existing housing needs in order to maintain health, safety, and property values.
Yeah. Maybe that's what my brain is trying to do here, is take the big wordy goal and then make it a,
Simplify it.
simplify
Boil it
the
down,
goal.
yeah.
And then have the details more in the strategy and the actions. Maybe,
And I think you're on the right path.
maybe that's what my, yeah.
So have you captured that, Rosemary?
Yeah, support existing housing needs in order to maintain health and safety and property values is the goal.
Mm-hmm.
Good.
But what you're saying, okay.
So. And then 5 methods to assure the gradual renewal and rejuvenation of deteriorating residential structures or areas.
Question on that one is, I don't get, how do we even approach that? What method?
Again, I think it goes back to ordinance and enforcement.
What are the suggested potential action plans? Road
That's a good place to go
systems,
to.
rural character. Maintaining good quality housing and property values is on page 7.
Mhm.
Increase the number of annual free opportunities to dispose of large household trash. Explore options of community chest grant program. That is a whole can of worms right there.
Mhm.
Or options that allow township to remove unsafe derelict structures that are abandoned. Use.
I think all these things are addressed through zoning ordinances.
Mhm.
Number 4, only change I would make is, change it from 1 acre to 2.5 acres. Because you're gonna have multiple dwelling units and it doesn't define how many on 1 acre. How many little houses can you build? Is actually addressed by number 5.
Going on to page 8 there is talking more about the plan unit development, including tiny home communities. On lots of, does that answer your, I don't know why she's got 1 acre in item 4, but 2.5 acres in 6. Accessory dwelling units. I think the number 4 there is the caretaker property?
Well, as the zoning stands now, on you can actually have a commercial lot of 1 acre that, old, growing up in Milwaukee, a German practice. Here's the business, the house, apartment, whatever is built on top of it.
Okay,
So, and sometimes there are multiple families living in it.
so this statement number 4 then would be to update the zoning ordinance to allow detached accessory dwelling units on lots of 1 acre or more, so that,
It'd be nice if she were here to answer it, but I think she's confusing the interest in shown in number 5 to have, because a number of people, even at the kickoff community meetings, I want to build a house for my kids to visit, as a detached building, because I don't want to add on to my existing house. I think she's kind of thrown that into the, number 4 for 1 acres.
okay. Something we didn't think about is how are we just gonna hand Sarah a bunch of edits, or are we gonna kind of have a conversation with her to make sure that we didn't miss something in the way she was
Well,
trying to write it?
kind of like my experience in code development, you've got a bunch of people that are, how do you code control, edit control. If Rosemary can pass along, would you be willing to do that, or pass them back to me? I'll pass them along. Sarah would prefer to have
One
us,
set.
one set come to her,
Mhm.
and then we'll have to read through that again. Make changes.
So on 4, are you changing 1 acre to something else?
Or do we want to ask her why that one says 1 acre instead of?
I'd inquire.
I think that one's a question before we change it, before we do any recommendation there.
So if we're back to the master plan, are we still on 4.1? Or did we solve that?
So, 4.1, provide methods to assure. Why don't we just say renewal and rejuvenation? That gets rid of any time,
Strike gradual.
strike the gradual. Just renewal and rejuvenation of deteriorating residential structures or areas. Ensure effective zoning regulation, housing and building codes are adequate. And enforce. Explore options to support improvement and maintenance of existing housing through township tax incentives and reward programs.
Well, I've explored it. We're not gonna do it. Again, what we need to include in a master plan and what we're actually gonna do. We don't have, we can say we're exploring it, but with the number one thing being taxes are too high, lower my taxes, I don't see how we get township tax incentives and reward programs,
Money's gotta come in from somewhere
well.
to be able to do incentives and reward programs, so.
And why is it a little tiny township's responsibility to provide that?
I'm okay with leaving it as it is, 4.3, but like, would really explore options and like, have that be
Are there grants available?
we're not gonna do anything on this one this, how would I put it? On a performance review, this one we're not expecting movement on,
Mhm.
but the language is here so that if something is available that's not our township residents' money to do these kinds of programs, we can jump on it. I guess that's what I would,
It opens the door.
it opens the door, it leaves that door open that we're exploring the options. What do you think?
Well, the thing that again, if he's pulling this from requirement to respond to something, improve and maintain existing housing units, we're not talking about building anything, we're talking about stuff that's already here. I don't have problems with tax incentives, I have problems with township tax incentives, because that means everybody else is chipping in to help you maintain whatever. And reward programs, you know, if they're coming from the county, state, or, you know, somebody else's pocket besides the township,
Mm-hmm.
I'm a little bit more open to it. Still have some philosophical issues with it, but, you know, if there are, you know, forget solar and wind, you know, we discovered that there are little tiny, nuclear power plants that we can put in every, you know, every 10 houses and give everyone cheapest power ever. Yeah, we can explore that. And maybe it's worth, you know, a tax break for groups of homes to do that. I don't know, you know, but I struggle tossing something in there that suggests that the township should help me pay for something that is strictly mine.
So you just want to take the word township out? Is that what I'm hearing? Through,
Well, if we're gonna leave it in, I feel more comfortable taking the word township out, cause that opens, you know, federal tax incentives, or, you know.
through tax incentives and rewards programs? Ted, do you just
Yep, so 4.3, we're striking township.
strike township? Okay.
And to go back, 4.1 is good, 4.2 is good.
Mm-hmm.
We
Struck
we
the
struck
gradual.
We
in
did strike
total.
gradual, very good.
4.2 is good. 5.
Do you have room on the whiteboard for 5? Because if you're gonna erase, I want to snap a picture of it.
No, I was gonna use
Okay.
this big white corner here.
Okay,
very
that's,
good.
that's the
Very
same
good.
thing, thanks,
Yeah,
Jen.
right. I'm a big fan of the camera. Okay, so 5 is support wide range of housing solutions to provide flexibility, smart residential growth that will also maintain inland's rural character. So goal 5.
question I have on the word smart. I mean, the word gets used so much for smart homes, smart this, smart that. Is it to be interpreted as an energy kind of smart, or just a wise residential growth?
I think wise.
Okay. Just want to clarify.
Yeah, to me. Support housing solutions. Housing.
I think it would be more powerful if we said that will, rather than say will also maintain, just strike will also, that maintains inland's rural character. More proactive way of stating it. So strike will also and add an S to maintain.
Maintains. Yep.
Mhm.
So this is kind of a deletion. And we're gonna do And we want kind of the same, the how of it is provide for flexibility. For flexibility. And smart growth. I'd say just provide intentional growth. I don't like smart there either. Intentional growth or wise. I like your wise.
I think I don't think we need a descriptor.
Just growth.
For flexible residential growth that maintains inland's rural character.
Oh, I gotcha. That provides for flexibility and residential growth.
I mean, basically what goal 5 says is, lighten up on housing solutions. If you want a tiny house, if you want a house made out of shipping containers, if you want a house made, just make sure that it maintains inland's rural character.
My question is, why do we have a goal 5 that's related to housing and a goal 4 that's related to housing?
Good question.
Well,
Shouldn't we be doing all of this for all of them?
and goal 3, because goal 3 talks about maintain rural character.
Preserving the rural character.
And then 5 says to maintain rural character. There is crossover there. 5 is more focused on zoning solutions,
And, well,
where 3 is preserving and protecting.
well, I would say just the opposite. I think goal 3 is land use, that's zoning, and goal 5 is what you put on it. You're targeting, 5 is wide range of housing solutions. And they can all go towards maintaining inland's rural character. We've got commercial property, in, well, this is housing, my example is commercial.
No, I hear you. You're right.
Want to put a 10-story
I'm with you.
office building, is that part of the rural character? Well, no, we don't want a skyscraper in inland township. Well, what if we made it look like a log cabin, 10-story tall log cabin? Oh, maybe that would fit,
Yep, I'm with you,
I
Jim.
don't know. But then
One is open area and one's housing.
we get into the strategy, more flexible housing opportunities. I like that, let's not be stick in the muds that it has to be this or that. I certainly don't want to have ordinances say that you have to paint it certain colors or
Right.
kind of thing. We're not a homeowners association. But 5.2 gets into all sorts of things that, and this actually was one that I talked to Sarah about. Coordinate housing developments that assure efficient use of utilities, existing transportation facilities, and other public facilities and services. We don't have any public facilities.
Today.
We do have public services in fire and rescue, or EMS, which isn't really EMS, but we'll call it that. But it does leave the door open for, again, I don't see in our lifetimes or our grandkids' lifetimes having a sewer system or a water system in this township. Maybe a limited area, but
So Jim, do we strike the word existing and we just coordinate housing development to assure efficient use of utilities, transportation facilities, and other public facility services?
I would strike the word existing.
You good, Val?
On 5.2.
5.2.
Yeah.
5.2.
I have a question on that. Like the trailer parks, don't they have to maintain like one big, septic system?
They do. Trailer parks will typically have mains that run through on whatever road structure they've got in there.
Right.
And then each one connects to that main and it goes to a septic field or treatment. Yeah, there's different kinds of treatments, so.
So should we read the goal for 5 again?
So,
Because we struck through a couple of words just to make sure it
Sure.
meets our intention. Support a wide range of housing solutions to provide for flexibility and residential growth that maintains inland's rural character.
I said while maintaining, but yeah.
Maintaining,
Yeah, I don't know that that's just wordsmithy. I guess my question here though is, do we want to kind of, and I don't know that I'm proposing to necessarily talk through this piece right here today, but combine 3, 4, and 5?
No, I think they address different things.
Okay, we want them as fully separate goals?
Three is zoning. 4 is, services that we provide, and 5 is what you put on the property.
yeah, and I think I agree with Jim.
Okay.
3 is preserve the rural character of the open spaces, scenic areas, waterways. 4, support existing housing. 5, support housing solutions.
Well, 4 is about existing housing, but providing services.
Okay, I'm not opposed to it. I feel like goal 4 and 5 are really similar. And if we considered existing housing maintenance as a housing solution, like that, my brain's just kind of really those two together. 3, just because the rural character, but rural character should be all throughout our master plan
Amen.
in multiple ways, because that is our number one thing that our residents have told us is
Mhm.
support the rural character. So,
So do we want to combine them or come back to them at the next revision?
if you wouldn't mind me taking these and, maybe smushing them together a little bit, and can I wordsmith something and bring it back to you guys?
Absolutely.
Okay. Because I don't know that my brain is fully processing because all the ideas here, like all of the strategies are good, but I don't want to get like one huge thing that is too wordy and too overwhelming. That's not my intention.
Well,
My intention is to condense it.
I read through this all once and then without trying to do any edits, and then came back again, and in multiple reads, you catch different things.
Yeah.
And I think one of the benefits of going through an exercise like this is you start to understand how all the different pieces fit together.
Yeah.
So, okay, I was trying to explain here what's explained elsewhere,
Right.
kind of thing.
Right.
And also, I'm gonna go back and reread the Enabling Act section on the master plan. Because Sarah clarified for me, big stumbling point, why are we including so many things that we don't do or don't wanna do?
Mm-hmm.
We're responding, we're trying to make this a far more accurate, our old master plan sucked.
Okay.
It was just bad. This one's more in keeping with the statutes, doing our due diligence,
Mhm.
kind of thing. So, but yeah, take a stab at it and come back.
Okay. We've run out of space on our whiteboard. Do we want to keep going, or this is kind of a natural?
I feel like we have some momentum.
Okay.
Well, we actually are, before you erase, I want to snap myself. We have 3 more goals.
Yes.
So I think if we can get through that, that would be great.
Okay.
I actually propose an additional goal.
Oh my gosh, we've got 9 and 10 too.
Yeah, I propose, 10's my proposal.
Oh, 10 is yours. Who does what?
We're gonna take a quick 5-minute recess.
At this moment,
It says there.
Yeah, and then we can erase and do the next one. This is the part. Oh, it'll work.
Is there another eraser? I was just gonna help.
Think so. So the pink marker is the most
Don't use that one.
annoying one. Good to know. Use the dark marker, not the light marker.
Another black one.
I think there's a black one on the table.
Tidy that up.
Okay. I should get some water here. Oh.
is anybody opposed to the smell of peppermint?
No, not at all.
I'm headache.
Oh, goodness.
And if
Sorry.
peppermint will take it away.
That I was gonna say, I don't think I have any ibuprofen or anything like that.
Oh, no, I don't take that.
Oh. Just peppermint.
Yes,
Good.
it works. I do more natural.
Yeah.
Kills your liver, big time.
Husband takes acetaminophen a lot, and I've heard that that one
Oh, that's really bad too.
kill your liver. So chapter 8 is future land use and zoning. She wanted most of our input on 7, 8, chapter 7, 8, and 9. She was looking for our. Okay.
Ginger is a good replacement for ibuprofen.
Oh yeah.
Roll. Goal number 6.
Okay. Okay. Okay, so 6 is support existing businesses and concentrate future commercial development along key corridors and support increased employment opportunities year round. That's a lot of stuff. Okay. Goal 6. Support businesses. Existing businesses. Concentrate development in corridors In quarters. Support increased employment year round. Year round. Okay. Ted, what's your thought on the, do we need year round?
Wouldn't we just support increased employment opportunities,
I would think so.
period? Don't care if they're year round or seasonal, or we just want to support employment opportunities.
Is that important? Year round?
That's why I put it on there for us to discuss. I just feel like we should support increased employment and not put a time frame around it.
There are a number of seasonal businesses up here. Canoe rental, is one. Not gonna be doing it on any of our creeks or rivers. And understand the direction of, just supporting businesses, but, if business wants to come in that is, there's 50 people for something that's really noisy and obnoxious, it's a seasonal thing. I don't know that we're gonna turn that business away either. There's only so far we can go with ordinances. The thing is, if somebody wants to put in a large renewable solar farm, there's nothing much we can do. That's already been taken out of our hands. I think 50 gig. At some level, it's out of our hands. The state takes over anyway. They're trying to do that. Quasi done that with mining, and they're working on doing that with Airbnb type of operations. So, I have no problem striking year round. We're supporting employment opportunities.
My only question here would be, so I lean towards striking it as well. My question would be, what type of community, what type of feel, the rural character, do we meet that goal less by having seasonal businesses that shut down for a portion of the year, whether they shut down for winter or they shut down for summer?
If you lived on any of the populated lakes around here, you'd say, what's the difference? Because everybody pulls their ducks and puts them on the front, and it looks like hell, and it's one of the reasons we wound up not buying property on a lake. It's like, okay, we're gonna be here, we're gonna be snowbirds. Do we want to look at that half the year? No. So I understand your point. Question would be, if we were to keep it, we have we're thinking of selling the 30 acres, and we have control who we sell it to. I would be far more in favor of maybe not quite as fancy an operation going in there that's year round, as opposed to 2 or 3, seasonal, I have no idea. A go-kart track would be seasonal. Well, half the year it's closed because it's covered with snow.
Lawn maintenance company would be seasonal, or a snow plowing business, or, opposites. Yeah.
That's good examples.
Whatever we do, I'd be far more in favor of year round, but, if nobody wants it except for, somebody that's gonna put up a go-kart track, which I'd be in favor of. you know, are we gonna say, no, they're meeting our purchase price,
Mhm.
you know? So, you know, and year round kind of is, again, I like less is more. Are we splitting hairs? You know, are we opening ourselves up to any problems by dropping it? I don't think so.
I don't know. What was your point again about leaving it in?
If we leave it in, so the only reason that I would hesitate to strike it is because the
The rural feel.
the rural feel,
rural-
is it less of a,
That's
are
what.
we not
yes.
meeting our rural feel goal by allowing seasonal businesses, by having more, but
Can we toss this as a question to Sarah as to, is there a specific reason for year round?
sure. And then Ted, you had also circled the key corridors, I think.
Yeah, so I
that
looked
was the
through
one.
the zoning ordinances, and what we do have defined is C1 General Commercial District. So, I mean, and again, this is just for us to talk about. I'm not
Mhm.
saying I'm hard stop on key corridors. But is key corridor the right word or term? When our current zoning says, defines it as general commercial district, C1 general commercial district. And maybe corridor is the right word. I just wanted us to talk about it.
Doesn't really make a difference to me.
Yeah.
Key corridor or say US 31 corridor.
Or 31, or what I wouldn't want to see is Lake Ann Road get turned into a development area. Now, we have our future, now this is land use, not zoning. But it seems like key corridor is a little open for interpretation of where that is. Where, and again, but I also don't wanna hamstring us that,
It's only 31.
it's only 31, right?
Yeah.
So, that's kind of why I
I
wanted to
think
talk
the
about
key
it.
corridors is, that language is a little bit more
Okay.
open.
Mm-hmm.
And then it's gonna ultimately be up to us as variances come in front of this commission.
Mm-hmm.
You know, do we allow changes along Lake Ann Road, or in your example, or along,
Again, the master plan is a guide. Our ordinances are going to be, you know, what exists. You know, Lake Ann, you can't put a gas station there. It's a residential district and doesn't fit with the rest of the land use. You know, sorry.
so key corridors, stick with that?
Yep.
Okay,
We're leaving it.
yep.
Really, would key
Leave it
corridor.
as is, and we'll check with Sarah on the year-round
year-round.
language.
Okay.
Okay, 6.1, promote the development of local businesses that reflect the quiet rural character of Inland Township, meet daily needs of residents, and are a size that is in scale with other uses in vicinity.
There's your quiet rural character that.
Mm-hmm.
Everything after Inland Township, comma, you know, I don't feel strongly, but I wonder why it's there. Meet the daily needs of inland residents. Well, I don't need something, you know, is it daily needs of all the residents? You know, I'm not sure what that means. And are the size that is the scale with other uses in the vicinity?
That's your 10-story building versus,
Yeah.
you know,
That's your
2-story. The little German house you were talking
Yeah.
about with, you know,
Or a top golf.
business on the bottom.
That wants to go in on the corner of Lake Ann and 31 or something.
Right.
Yes,
That wouldn't,
that doesn't fit.
yeah, size and scale. I think the size and scale part of that sentence is much more important than the meet daily needs.
Mhm.
But I'm kind of wondering if there's a use case for the meet daily needs part of that sentence. That seems real specific to me. I don't know. Meet the daily needs.
Well, the only thing that I can think of is, and I can't think of a business that, aircraft engine repair. You know, how many people in Inland Township have a plane? Or, you know, make it more specific, jet engine repair, how many, you know, have a jet? Well, it's big and noisy, they have, you know, whatever they do is disruptive to the neighborhood. It doesn't meet anybody in Inland Township, you know, they're attracting business from all over northern Michigan. You know, does it serve the daily needs of residents is really the question, as opposed to bringing in a business that is, you know, like, well, so when Marv Blackford sold some of his properties, it's the old Marvin Gardens, which may predate you. He sold property that then became the asphalt plant
Mm-hmm.
and regretted it because asphalt plants are smelly.
Mm-hmm.
You know, does that meet the needs of our residents? Well, maybe if they're blacktopping something, but you know, 97% of their businesses, you know, 99% of their businesses outside of Inland Township. That's the only interpretation that I could come up with for that.
That or the partial doing their, burning, that was an issue, and the light,
The lights at yeah.
those both came up in front of the previous boards.
Lights.
The lights from the storage.
Yeah, so that.
Light
It's a
pollution.
good call out, Rosemary, because that is addressed in the, potential action items. On those particular pages, page 8, numbers, 6 and 7.
And the burning at partial, was another huge item.
More than anything else, if we're gonna strike anything from 6.1, it would be the word daily. Just
Yeah.
meet the needs of inland residents.
I think so too. If we take daily out. Okay, so 6.2 is support development design standards, regulations and enforcement to provide quality commercial developments or light industrial use.
I have no idea what the design standards would be.
Well, that's gonna be,
Well, actually, I'm not sure what development design standards. I mean, sound like ordinances to me.
yeah, setbacks and, I
Ah,
use
okay.
Gaylord as a really good, Gaylord, Michigan is a really good example of development design standards. Everything in the downtown in Gaylord is half timbered. It's the German,
Oh, okay.
structure.
Yeah.
And they've done that to make their downtown Bavarian.
Mhm.
You know what I mean? So you can't come in and build something or replace a building that's there and not meet those design standards. So.
And actually, with the word support, it just leaves the door open for doing it.
Mm-hmm. To provide quality commercial developments or light industrial uses. I'm okay with that one.
Okay.
Same.
Okay. And then 6.3. And I don't mind Ted's suggestion here that actively engage and partner with county, regional, state, and federal agencies.
Yeah, we talked about that at our planning commission meeting. I think Jim was the one that brought it up, that we should be more proactive, working with our local other government agencies. So that's kind of what fueled that.
That's fine. And again, a little bit of wordsmithing just to make it stronger. Agencies that will, I would strike that will to agencies to support local business opportunities. And I would throw in the words in order to maintain. Again, just wordsmithing.
Okay.
Jim, what did you say after, that? You want to get rid of will? And,
That will change that will to two.
okay,
And after partnerships,
in order,
in order to
Okay.
maintain.
And then take Ted's
suggestions
suggestion up at the
instead of
beginning.
cooperate.
Yeah, instead of cooperate. I like that. Okay. Goal
7,
7. Sure, appropriate development requirements and regulations are in place so that Inland Township is a desirable place to live and sense of community is maintained. I don't know how to make that one shorter.
actually 7 is one of the few that I don't have any notes on
I
anything
feel
at
like
all.
that is very succinct, actually. Yeah, I like this one. Ted, you've got buffer areas.
So I think about Leelanau County has gravel pits,
Mm-hmm.
they have berms around them, and there's a lot of discussion about the berm not being enough, that there should be evergreens
Mm-hmm.
planted along there as well. So buffer area, it's just because I looked at it last night, there is a definition of buffer areas in our zoning. I'm not so sure that I'm as concerned about the term buffer areas today as I was a couple days ago when I went through this. But I do just think of making sure that we have, buffer areas for what they're designed for, and that's between a residential area and an adjacent commercial area.
Mm-hmm.
That provides a buffer. So I'm okay with it there. I don't know that we need to get into the weeds of vegetative buffers and natural setbacks. I am mindful that there's another county struggling with a berm over.
Mhm. I'm kind of wondering if the definition of the buffer area shows up in our ordinances rather than in the strategy.
Yeah, and that's where I said
That's what I'm thinking.
I think it'll show up in 2 places, one with ordinances, and 2, if we get into the development of something, I mean, we can set, say it is a gravel pit, we can, while we can't deny one outright. If one passes, we can set up hours of operation. We can negotiate, a buffer area, you know, how it should be constructed, as part of the approval process. So, yeah, I think getting into too much, do we plant pine trees or, whatever, gets a little too much into the, pardon the pun, weeds of details.
Okay, so we're gonna leave 7.2 as is. I do like you're adding in building mass slash scale. With regard to site landscaping,
Again, I just think about like a Top Golf.
right,
So if we think about, what the scale of a building is or the mass of it, the square footage or the height or whatnot. And my suggestion is to place that in between the word landscaping
and
and
sign,
signs.
yeah.
Placement.
I think that's good. And then that also kind of pulls back to our sense of community and our, you know, rural character and that sort of stuff to keep that in front of our minds. Started snowing.
And so we're totally good with the goal as it's written.
Yep.
And then the four strategies align to the intent of the goal.
I think so.
Okay.
Are you gonna change the wording in 7.4?
Yes, building mass
Okay.
slash scale. So that's the only change on that one.
Starting to see light at the end of the tunnel.
Okay, goal 8. I'm wondering why this one is here, personally, because this seems like a no-brainer to me. But maybe stating the obvious
The
is,
whole of goal 8.
yeah, the whole of goal 8. Carefully plan, construct, and maintain all public facilities, including roads, trails, public spaces, and buildings to serve the needs of current and future generations.
And I would say the strength in this is the last two words, future generations.
Future
So we're
generations.
forward looking. John talked about it a little bit ago, early on, when he was talking about the other property there and holding on to it. And I think that there is something to be said for planning for future generations. So we don't know what park we may need 5
Mhm.
years from now, or whatever it is from a township or municipal perspective. So I think we need to have eyes on future generations, not just what's in the township today.
Okay.
I agree with that to a point. Um, Using John's example, we can't hold on to property just because we think we might use it. We have to have a specific reason for holding on to it. We have to have a plan for it, not that we might use it is not a plan. We're going to put something there is the plan.
And maybe that pushes that discussion.
Mhm.
Maybe that drives that
Yes.
discussion of making a decision.
Future
Do we
generation.
hold it for fill in the blank?
Well,
Or is it
I think a lot of what's gonna come out of this master plan is that there are a number of studies that need to be done, and, you know, this commission is not going to have an answer by the time the master plan is done.
Right.
You know, we're holding on to several properties, you know, there are three that can be named that people are questioning, why do we have these? We need to look into, you know, and they're related, you know, do we need to hold on to, you know, 3 to 5 acres for a new fire hall, community building? I don't know. Are the residents willing to, you know, pony up for a 5.5 mil, you know, building program? Currently, certainly doesn't look like it based on the answers that came back in the survey.
But back to your question, Val, I think for me, the power in this particular goal is
The future look.
the future. The master plan helps.
The 5 to 20-year look.
Mhm.
And it's, I mean, all of this is part of the capital improvement plan. You know, we're gonna be looking into some of it, and we're not gonna have definitive, we're gonna have some directional stuff, but we certainly aren't gonna have final answers. I don't think.
Okay, we can leave it in. I do like, Ted, you suggested budget dedicated annual funding to adequately maintain all existing township facilities. I like that language, that addition.
So I added that in because to me adequately maintained, just kind of, again, a nebulous term. What does that mean?
Based on the budget, yeah.
But yeah, so let's have something in the budget that provides the annual funding to maintain existing facilities. Because candidly, I've said before, we've just kicked it, we've just deferred maintenance
Mhm.
all around this entire, whether it's the cemeteries, this building, whatnot. So if we budget it, it becomes much more actionable. Now, whether it's part of the master plan might be a different discussion, but I just,
Again, the budget is a responsibility of the board,
right.
not the planning commission.
And this is the township's master plan, not just the planning commission's, so. I think it-
Understood, but the annual budget, I mean, and this is not just my interpretation, this is statutory. The annual budget is the responsibility of the board.
Mhm.
But this can also be included when you talk about items $5,000 to $10,000. Now you're talking capital improvement plan. So, especially when you talk, we'll just pick on Bendon for a moment. I think we all agree Bendon needs a facelift. It's probably gonna be more than $5,000 to $10,000, right? So we should,
Yep.
if that's the right thing, then maybe budget to precede that existing sentence helps put some action behind it. And then A2, my suggestion there was keep everything as it is and then just add and support training initiatives. So if we're gonna maintain and support quality fire, emergency services and police protection, acceptable response times and support training initiatives. And again, these are all thought starters, not
Support training initiatives.
I think we're already doing that, but if you wanna add that in, that's fine.
Yeah, I'm okay with that too. We're debating through support of training initiatives, but that's not what we wanna say. So I like your and.
8.1, can we go back to that? Are we putting in Ted's suggestion or
Yes.
yes?
Budget dedicated annual funding to Adequately maintain all existing. Same with 8.2.
Yep.
And support training initiatives. Supports. These connections and support multimodal transportation investments.
I don't even know what that means.
To me, this would be,
Walking trails, bike trails.
or what am I thinking here? Like, safe routes to schools grants is what my brain goes to. So there is federal funding available that supports people's ability to walk to schools,
Hmm.
to neighborhood schools. So I'm trying to make it in my brain work at Lake Ann Elementary over here, and probably that's not a good example. But like put sidewalks down. Yeah, and that's not ours. Put, yeah, that would be something that would have a non-motorized connection between the Inland Township Park and the school. You know, or support multimodal transportation investments.
My,
I'm not sure what that would be.
the wording that gives me the most trouble in that is support and seek. If we struck support and seek and just said investigate, I'd be much happier, because I don't particularly support.
Explore
non-motorized.
options. What if we add in, so on strategy 4.3, we said explore options to support with housing, and that one's with housing, 4.3.
Mhm.
What if we make it read like that?
That's better.
Explore options to support.
Mhm.
Okay, I didn't have any changes to the goal itself. Goal. Okay, so 9 and 10. So we got left.
And again, to clarify, 10 is not in Sarah's, 10 is one that I'm suggesting.
Okay.
I'm suggesting adding a goal 10.
Okay, so 9 was in Sarah's though, right?
Mhm.
Okay, provide, maintain, and plan for an adequate range of recreation opportunities as appropriate locations in the at appropriate locations in the township. Diverse range.
So I think about diverse range versus adequate of pickleball being an activity that's not currently there. I mean, it's a more diverse range. Is it, I mean, what's adequate? Adequate is just having the park, right? You just show up. It just seems like it's just a low level word for, to define range of recreation. You know, it could also be dog park. We talked about dog park earlier. So I feel like diverse is more clear on what sort of, not what sort, but diverse versus adequate. I think I just said it as well as I can.
Well, what is an adequate park? You know,
A meadow.
I would be more looking at it now more closely. I'm more bothered by the word range than adequate. You know, it would be fun to have a water park, you know. Certainly more diverse, and it's certainly a range, but, you know, that's gonna cost something. You know, what is adequate, uh, you know, from the standpoint of serving the public need? I mean, technically speaking, again, this is MTA training. There are only two things that a township are required by statute to do: collect taxes and hold elections. Those are the only two required things. Everything else is icing on the cake, including, you know, we don't have to have a park.
I thought we
do-
had to have a cemetery too. Don't tell, and wasn't that kind of the point of
May have been,
townships maybe?
may have been at one time, but currently those are the only two things.
Hmm.
You know, we do have cemeteries, and by, we have to, I don't wanna sound like we're stuck with them. We have them, we keep them, you know, we can't,
Mm-hmm,
Yeah.
yeah.
they're there, you
Mhm.
know, but, you know, having a park, having, you know, a fan, you know, if we want a community center that has a basketball court and, you know, all those things, that's all community decision stuff that, you know, pass a millage to raise the funds or find some grant or some rich guy that'll write a check, which happens. I mean, things like that have happened in Frankfurt. You know, guy wrote a check for a fire engine, you know,
Mm-hmm.
a couple decades ago, but,
So Val, where are you on the range of?
So I'm kind of
Recreation.
wondering if we kind of smush together the goal and strategy 9.1, because I feel like strategy 9.1 is
states the goal
stating
better.
the goal better. So if we did provide, maintain, and plan for public park facilities that correspond to the needs of residents at appropriate locations in the township.
Works by me.
Nailed it.
So she gave us all the language just in like two different areas. Provide, and so.
Rosemary, were you able to
maintain and
capture that, or you
plan
need that
for
reread?
Public park facilities that correspond to the needs of residents. At appropriate locations in the township.
Maintain, go ahead and repeat that.
And plan for,
Yeah.
and then the language of 9.1,
Mm.
public park facilities that correspond to the needs of residents.
Okay.
And then back up to the goal, needs of residents at appropriate locations in the township.
As a member of the public, I have a question with that. So you guys are just looking at parks, you're not really looking at, a gym facility or, um, anything like that for recreation. You're just looking specifically at.
Should we put parks and recreation facilities?
just
Should we
question.
put? Question.
Well,
Mhm.
Parks and recreation facilities?
Well, strategy 9.2 is listed, which becomes 9.1. Consider dedicated park and recreation planning.
So then our strategy becomes parks and recreation
Mhm.
planning, which may lead to more or different park facilities or more or different recreation facilities? I think we
I-
can still consider recreation facilities without having it in the goal.
Well, most big cities, have park and rec programs,
Mm-hmm.
so if we add recreation, cause if we had a facility that could handle more tables for euchre, you know, that, it's not necessarily a park thing, but it is recreation, you know, year round kind
Mm-hmm.
of thing. I mean, what becomes 9-1, what is 9-2, certainly calls for, another activity of the planning commission is to come up with a park plan.
Mm-hmm.
Yep. And you have to have park plan to receive grant funding.
You do.
Which is the whole point. Well, not the whole point, an added benefit.
So we have the wording for the goal
Yes.
and then one strategy.
Yes.
Which considering that the word consider basically calls for a park plan.
Mm-hmm.
That, I think that covers everything. Nice and neatly in one little package.
Yeah, you've got the goal, and then we've got
Yep.
one item is
Yep.
make a plan. Um, okay, and then we have a proposed goal 10, implementation and review of master plan.
I don't have any problem with either, but basically that's part of the statute. Well, completely reviewing the master plan every 5 years is part of the statute. Basically what you're laying out in 10-1 and 10-2 are your requirements.
Actually, maybe think about it differently. What it says is that we'll start to assign responsibility for what gets done. So what is the township, what do they own in this master plan? What does the planning commission own in the master plan? And what does the zoning administrator own in the master plan? So we could take, of all those action items we have, and I just chose 10.
Mm-hmm.
Take the top 10 of all these action items, and then that becomes our focus. So, code enforcement, I'll just pick one, code enforcement. So who owns that? Well, this current zoning administrator owns that. And so we start to lay out, what are the top 10, who does it? And then instead of just every 5 years, we do a master plan, this is getting the master plan done. What are, on the top priority focus items
Mm-hmm.
over the course of the 5 years.
So my question here is, do we want this to be kind of a goal, or do we want this included in the master plan? And I say that kind of in a way of what I've seen in other master plans is that the action items end up in a bit of a grid that then has a column for whose responsibility is it?
Like a
What's our
receipt.
timeline? Yeah, like a RACI
Well,
chart of who's.
Mhm.
which actually gets to the last page in chapter 9, which is doing exactly that. What's the strategy? What's the action? What's the priority? What's the time frame? Who's responsible? Collaboration.
Oh, is in the master plan itself?
Yeah, it's
Okay.
chapter 9.
Nice.
So
And again, my 10-2 is instead of this master plan we have now has been on a shelf. Let's take it off the shelf every year. Let's review it and let's invite the public and let's go through it of where we are, what are we doing? So and, and, and Val, whether it is a goal number 10 or not, I
Mhm.
just feel like we need to put some emphasis and focus on the master plan once it's adopted, of making sure that the township's following it
Right,
and the key players within the township,
right.
the board.
I
planning
am
commission.
certainly in step with that as a desired outcome. I wouldn't bury it in chapter 7, 10, 2. I would put that up in the preamble of the very beginning of what the master plan is all about. And again, it's the responsibility of the board to carry out everything in the master plan. And certainly it's, part of the statute that the planning commission, while only having a requirement for 4 meetings a year, that we do active, and as long as I'm on the planning commission and chair of the planning commission, we will be far more proactive than it's been in the past. But as far as actually the things you hit on, good points, such good points that they're part of the statute. But I think that, if the goal is really to make sure that the board of trustees carries things out, let's not bury it in the back of the plan. Let's put it right up front.
Yeah, and I'm, yeah, board of trustees, but the planning commission and the zoning administrator too. I'm saying we all have a dog in this,
Mhm.
right? So,
I don't disagree, which was the point of my proposal that, define and carry out, let's make sure everybody's doing their part.
so said a different way, Jim, you're saying instead of a goal, put it as a preamble?
Absolutely.
So right up front as a explanation of, this is our master plan and this is why we think it's important and this is how we're gonna review it.
And board, we expect you to use it,
Right,
which, it's much like, well, you've been involved in essentially consulting work.
Mhm.
For big corporations, you have a consultant come in, they do this great thing, here's the binder, it goes in the safe and,
right,
thank you very much.
right,
Hey, we did it.
right.
And nobody follows it. The master plan is supposed to be the guide, the active guide for spending every budget dollar, for taking every action. The current master plan is, I don't want to say a joke, but it's a joke. Sarah was kind of amazed at it. You know, it's an important point. Let's not bury it. If you want to come up with some verbiage for the preamble that takes it out of a goal and strategy.
Okay, I'll take that on. Are you good with that, Val?
Yeah, I'm
Okay.
good with that. Let's put it right up front and center.
It is getting close to time for me.
Mm-hmm.
Close to noon 30.
But we got through all of our goals there.
We did. Chapter
Sure, I'm so proud.
So we're through chapter 7, which is the meatiest part of all of it, so. A few questions for Sarah, but
Before we put a ribbon on this, Rosemary, things on anything that we've gone over, anything fuzzy that you want clarification on? Now's the time that we should
Yeah.
firm it up.
So I'm gonna write this up, but then
Do you want
you're
us to
gonna
take a
take it
look
back
at?
to Sarah?
Sure.
Okay, all right.
And I think as far as the minutes, the minutes do not need to be long for this one at all. This is a workshop, the chapters that were discussed and reference this video online should anyone care to spend 3.5 hours on the details.
Do you have this in a document that you can send to me
Yeah.
to
Yeah,
mark up?
I'm sorry.
So I can mark
Yep.
this up with,
So you want an e-copy of that?
that'd be great.
Yep.
You know, that way I can just copy paste.
Yep.
Yeah.
fix.
Okay,
Yeah,
yeah.
I don't wanna retype.
So
I don't
would
wanna
you,
recreate.
so would you prefer it in Word then,
Sure.
or?
Yeah.
Yeah, Word,
Word,
okay.
Word.
let her edit it.
Any public input? Hearing none. Any other comments about what we've covered today?
Are we
No-
gonna
no-
reconvene? Because Sarah had talked about a December date, which is what drove this meeting for today. Are we gonna reconvene with another workshop between now and then to pick up on what we've gone over today, the changes we've made, as well as
Couple more chapters.
yeah, the task, we
Couple
didn't
more
get to the task,
chapters.
yeah.
I am certainly open to it.
I just wanna know what our next steps are.
Yeah, and maybe loop the Johns back in
Mm-hmm.
on the rest of the work here. What do we got available? I threw out the date for this one just because I knew I was on vacation. I don't know. I have no idea what everybody else's schedules and lives look like.
Well, next week is out for me.
Okay. When do you head south?
After Christmas.
After Christmas, okay. So December,
And there's a very good chance that we will delay things on Sarah's end until we get our work done.
mm-hmm.
Yeah, so what is the December date she's looking for?
If we wanted. mm,
Release draft plan December 15th.
Not gonna happen.
And I'd rather us take our time and get it right
Mhm.
than hit a deadline.
So our next official meeting is on the 15th. I guess I would propose we meet, I can do after 3 on the 8th. Also like the 11th or the 12th. So that's Monday, Thursday, Friday, the
The
week
the
before.
8th is a board meeting at 6.
Oh, township board meeting. You
Would,
can't be
would,
there.
I mean, as long as we don't go past 6 p.m., then I'm okay with.
Do we
the 8th
know,
at 3.
do you gentlemen know what John and John's lives are like? If they
No,
prefer evenings or daytimes?
John Cranmer is, should be freer come the week of the 8th, from what he's told me.
What were the other 2 dates you said, 11th and 12th?
The 11th and 12th, the
Okay.
Thursday and Friday there?
Well, why don't I send,
Any of
why
those.
don't I send out an email to everyone seeing if they had time on the 11th and 12th, and if so, do you have a suggested time after 3, you said?
Yeah, after 3 would probably be best for me. Let me see, the 11th and 12th.
I'm gonna go get the calendar because it says it's rented. This meeting room is rented,
Mm-hmm.
so let me,
So we go to Bendon.
Go check it
grab
out.
the calendar.
Rosemary always a step ahead, because that was gonna be my next question, if this room is even available.
Sorry.
you for thinking of it.
Yeah, it'd been awkward.
That would have been real awkward if we showed up here and
Yeah,
couldn't
it-
use a room.
There's a kabuki dance going on or something. Dance class.
The 12th is not available at all.
So that puts us on the 11th.
The 11th you can do after like 10:30. It's rented in the morning.
We're looking after, starting at 3 or after,
So I can be available, 10, 11, be available at 12. Can be back here at 12 if,
Um,
as early as 12 on the
All right.
11th.
I will send out an email and see what we got.
I may have to work for Treese that day.
We'll just make a recording and
Yes,
go from there.
yes.
We may be able to hammer it out in time for the 15th to get back to Sarah.
I'd like to see a final draft before we have it go out as a draft.
Oh, with all of our edits
Yep,
worked into
Yep,
it.
support that.
Okay, so you're gonna check on timing, see if the 11th
Mhm.
will work for everybody else.
And see if they have any alternate suggestions.
Okay. Works for me. Know off the top of their head where to find tax rates to help me with that. The project of comparing our tax rates.
I sent
to
you a link.
the dashboard.
Yes,
Uh-huh.
that might
Help.
help.
Okay.
I'm not 100% sure on that.
There
That
is
dashboard, but,
there's a state site that,
and we're probably speaking of the same thing that I don't know if tax rates are on there, but there are other things like population, stuff like that.
Okay.
there's a ton of stuff. If I can't find it, I'll email Ron and find out.
Didn't we look at that, Jim, when we were reviewing the salaries? We had a nice spreadsheet.
Say one more time?
When we were reviewing the salaries, didn't we look at that? And we had a nice spreadsheet.
We slow. Oh,
Um,
you're not on, okay.
I'm
We
not on it.
looked at salaries
Or
for
signal
positions,
gun.
but I don't
Sometimes
know
that's
if we looked at
faster.
tax rates,
Yeah.
did we?
Yeah. We did.
I'll
You
see
might
if I-
ask Terese,
I'll dig that up.
Yeah.
Oh,
cause she had a nice comparison of,
mm-hmm,
so we
Yes.
knew where.
that was Benzie County,
Yeah,
That was where I was gonna head to, was
yeah.
check with the Benzie County clerk. Cause they might know, they might have a nice sheet
I
of all the
bet she
townships.
does.
Oh, yeah. Ben's wife would know, she's the administrator.
Give me an excuse to reach out to Katie.
All right, anything else?
I don't think so.
I don't know that we need a motion to adjourn, but if,
We do?
Yep,
I moved that we adjourn at 12:30.
I'll second.
all in favor?
I
Say something.
Aye.
Opposed? We are adjourned.
Good job on the whiteboard.
Oh, thanks. I'm
No,
a visual,
seriously, very,
I'm
very
a visual
helpful.
person
Yep.
and that's the way my brain works and it's not,
The way in my previous life that we
Like-
lived off of.
yeah. I have a really hard time. Also, I think sitting for long periods of time, my brain just kind of shuts down. So standing up also helps me. Oh, that is probably why the seat goes so low, is to get the armrests underneath the table.